Yo,
Hey, what is going on, man? How are you?
I'm stranded.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. We are doing an impromptu must love wrestling session tonight because we're trying to help our fellow man out. Tyler is stuck at what airport is it?
Sanford Airport in Orlando.
Sanford Airport. That's a nice airport. Let me tell you something. You're just a little bit away from Walt Disney World. I
Oh,
love that airport. He is stuck there till 7:30 in the morning, and we figured, you know what? Let's get our Mountain Dew Code Red. Not a sponsor at all, but we figured, hey, why not? If we're going to pull an all-nighter, we might as well give it a shot. I love that. Living my Tom Hanks life, the terminal. Ooh, did you make any money for a Whopper?
no, I haven't actually seen the movie.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Well,
I was
it's a
just like, isn't
wonderful
there a
movie.
movie where a guy gets stuck in an airport?
Yes. He gets stuck. His land, his country, I believe, they close down his country. It's taken over, and then he needs to stay in that airport. And if he leaves the airport, he will be deported back to the country where, unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. So he's stuck there until he can be granted citizenship of the United States of America. And it is a very solid movie, really good. He has to do what he has to do. He's very nice. He's got a thick accent. I can't really place the accent. He works really hard. Once he realizes that the luggage carts, that they're a lot like Aldi, where you have to put the quarter in to return it, he starts getting quarters up so he can go buy Whoppers at the airport Burger King. And yeah, it's a really good movie. When the guy in the airport decides, I don't like this, I'm trying to get him deported back to his country, we need to force him out, they spend money to get electronic uh, luggage compartments, so there is no money necessary anymore. And then, get this, there's a guy who needs to get this girl to look at him, so he says, I'll give you a job and I'll slip you money if you help me. So they hire him on his construction under the
Nice.
table, and then some guy keeps giving him like airport food. So the movie itself is really great. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it. Tom Hanks is in it. They play it really well. um yeah. So anyway, Tyler's living that life. Obviously, he hasn't succumbed to trying to get back, you know, quarters, but he's doing pretty well. So Tyler, since this is for you, my man, what topic would you like to touch on? We did touch on some stuff yesterday on our audio podcast. So did you want to continue with that? Maybe the Jericho conversation. Maybe there was other stuff you thought that we could possibly talk about further.
I mean, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't discuss the CM Punk situation.
Ah, yes. Let's start right there. So, it has been reported two different times. Now we have one report based on how CM Punk arrived to London in a bad mood. He was there, he was happy, he called for his car service. It didn't come. There was nothing set up for him. He called Wembley to get a hold of AEW, and it was bounced back. So he was disconnected from the phone call, and he got lost going to Wembley Stadium. There were some gracious fans there in London that knew who he was because he is a global sensation, and they got him to Wembley. So he was already in a bad mood, and then during 0 hour, things got worse. Jack Perry decides to do a spot that CM Punk thought was unsafe. CM Punk, I believe, was trying to keep him wrestling. He was trying to keep him from missing time. Jack Perry has time that he requested off. He wanted to be off of television for a while. He is a part of AEW Collision, and CM Punk called him out for it. He was trying to be a locker room leader. He may have gone too far, but he told him he didn't want him to use real glass because he thought Jack Perry would get injured, which would make him miss time, which is why Jack Perry cuts the promo he does or says what he says into the camera, which is, this is real glass, Crimea River. They go backstage. He gets into it with CM Punk. CM Punk chokes him out. Samoa Joe needs to separate it. This lie on the internet that Miro and Punk got into an argument as well, that has been dispelled by Miro and a couple of people. They were joking. They were trying to... Miro was doing what Miro does as a wonderful human being, and he was trying to lower the tempers, so he says to CM Punk, like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Unless you want to fight me." And Miro and him joke about it. They laugh about it. Punk goes out and has the match of the night. So, what did you think about this whole debacle? Now knowing the entire picture with Jack Perry wanting to miss time and CM Punk possibly getting involved where he didn't need to get involved. It feels like they're both wrong, but I don't think either thing should cost them this weekend. What do you think?
Right, and that's the thing. I don't think enough happened to warrant suspensions. Like, this is a business that's absolutely filled with testosterone,
Yes.
and so I don't get why we need to suspend someone every time there's a little bit of a an altercation like that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do think they're both wrong. I think.
Yeah, agreed.
At some point, I just think CM Punk needs to learn that if people want his opinion, they will come to him for it, and otherwise, he maybe should just keep it to himself.
Yes,
Because
agreed.
it just seems to, every time he tries to voice it, it just seems to cause issues.
Yes, absolutely. So here's my thought on this whole thing. If we go back to Jericho's podcast, or I don't know if it's a podcast or if it's an interview on a stage, but Jericho talks about CM Punk trying to proclaim himself the locker room leader.
It's a podcast.
Yes. Okay. And we have been told that this is a thing that CM Punk values, locker room leadership. This is something that really sticks out to him. And although we don't condemn him for it, although like we applaud him for it, it seems as though he doesn't understand the way this thing works. You don't proclaim yourself the locker room leader. You are given that title by your peers, or you show such great leadership that you immediately become that without anybody ever needing to say so.
Right.
So
it's like being a captain in sports. You don't make yourself the captain.
Absolutely.
The coach or the team appoints you.
Yes. And that's the problem, and that's kind of where we get at with CM Punk. Like, we're both massive Punk fans. Like,
yes,
we definitely we've talked about it a lot. We missed CM Punk for the years he was gone. I mean, his first night back, I remember us talking and with elation, just being like, "Man, CM Punk is back." And then I remember you were watching him come back. You were watching Collision live as it was going on. I was not. And I remember the text read as such: I didn't realize how much I needed CM Punk.
Right. I was going through some stuff and it just like, I smiled for the first time in days. Like, just,
Yeah.
And full disclosure, I think Phil Brooks is a quality human being.
Okay.
I think he cares about the right things. I think he cares about people.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he doesn't express it very well.
Yes, agreed. I think we're kind of scratching our heads here because there's been this thing about CM Punk where people have come out and they've said that problems follow him no matter where he goes. And it turns out to be one of these things where every time he goes to a new place, every time everything is doing really well and even keeled, he has to bring the issues with him. And it just brings me back to this thing, like, it's almost like he's addicted to the drama. Like, would you go that far, or do you think I'm just reaching?
I'm struggling to not quote Taylor Swift.
Oh, please quote the Queen. Just go ahead, let it out.
I swear he doesn't love the drama; it loves him.
Okay, I like it. I like that. But in terms of Taylor Swift, like, yeah, the drama does love her. People love to just poke fun at her, and all she's doing is magnificent stuff. But CM Punk,
I love her.
Yeah, but just there you go. Macho and Tyler were Swifties for life. So just so you guys know, like, it seems as though like CM Punk just like, whether he wants this to happen or not, it definitely follows him around.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because he's so important to the business.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think it was yesterday because I didn't know what we were going to talk about last night. I was thinking CM Punk is the worst team captain since Roy Kent.
Ooh. Well, Roy Kent turns out to be a great captain, but
He
I
turns out to be
understand
a
what you're
great
saying.
coach. As a captain, he struggles because he's coming to terms with his own body deserting him, and
Okay.
as a coach, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, CM Punk and Jack Perry are season one. Roy Kent and Jamie Tart.
Ooh, I like that. But here's the thing. There was never a moment between CM Punk and Jack Perry where like where they had that like immediate disdain for each other. Like there's a great moment of Punk cutting a promo with Luchasaurus and Perry in the ring, and they're kind of tongue in cheek about it. It feels very, it feels very much like I don't think Jack Perry wants to be there. Like I think either that or he's method acting right now.
Where
Like
does he
he's a
want to be?
heel and he's trying to do this like all the time.
Where does he want to be? Because like he's been put in a position to succeed there.
Yeah.
He's. I can't imagine he thinks he's going to get a better push somewhere else.
No, I
So
I,
unless he
I
just
agree with
doesn't want
you.
to wrestle, which is
Yeah, I
fine.
don't know. I mean, I don't know. Based on, and I don't want to sound disparaging because I am a fan of Jack Perry. I've posted videos, pretty much calling out fans. If you like Dom Mysterio, you have to like Jack Perry. They both they just exude this natural heat. So it feels to me like he's hated for I don't know what reason. Like there's it's not like he's a second generation superstar. Like his dad was an actor and he had a generic tag team with a dinosaur. I don't know what the reason is for hating him. He's a really good young talent, but for some reason people have just they've considered him channel changing heat, and I don't agree with that.
I don't get that. I enjoy watching him personally.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Um, I liked it. I liked when he turned heel because I've always felt like I wanted him to turn instead of Christian because I just felt like that was just he's that really good looking guy that you go to high school with, and like you can just see that like he acts nice, but like the little prick is there.
Yes, but the problem is that in the history we have with Christian, we know he cannot play a babyface. There are some guys that are just really, really bad at, and they're not trying to be, they're just really unnatural. That's the word. I won't use bad. I'm sorry, Christian. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Christian, but I'm saying he's unnatural as a babyface. He is a natural heel. And that's not to say anything. He seems like a wonderful human. We both listen to the ENC podcast, and I love that podcast. It made me love them more.
Right.
So I don't understand, but on in terms of on television, I don't think it would have worked if they would have done this initially. Christian has to be the heel. Right now, the guy's ripped. It's the best physique he's ever had in his life, and he refuses to show it to you. He's showing you he's wearing a turtleneck and working. Like, I think it is wonderful. The fact that like people thought he got
In
fat.
August.
Yeah, they thought he got fat, so he was like, "Oh, you guys think I'm fat? Here, watch this." He takes a selfie, shows you his body, and he's like, "I wear a turtleneck because I want to." Like, it's just perfect. It's a perfect I guess way to catch heat. It's something simple, but
I wish he really was the TNT champion.
yeah, I agree with you. I don't understand why it's Luchasaurus. All I think is it adds a layer of heat. If
Yeah,
you look at it, that's exactly what it does. Like you're as the normal consumer who watches AEW, if AEW is the first wrestling promotion you ever watched, it's gonna annoy the shit out of you. Like, why is this guy carrying this dinosaur's title? And it's just like it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'm a fan of Luchasaurus. I think he's a little bit green. I know he's a martial arts expert. I know he's really smart. I think he's got a
yeah.
couple degrees.
I guess
Um,
the match with Wardlow was just so bad.
yeah,
It
well,
just
let's
made me
talk about it.
lose
What
faith.
like I mean, what did you lose faith in Luchasaurus or are you losing faith in Wardlow? Let's transition to Wardlow.
Yep.
We have the time, so we might as well just talk about everything that's on our mind. Let's do it.
I may have to move to a plug-in at some point, but we're good for now.
Oh, I thought you had one. I thought that's why you were sitting against that wall. I thought you had one right near you.
No, I was about to grab one, and then a young lady that had special needs kind
Oh,
of plunked herself next to it, so I wasn't going to fight
my
that.
God, look at the hero. Tyler Taylor. He really is God's gifts, ladies and gentlemen. That is amazing. All right, enough putting you over. Let's talk about Wardlow. Let's talk about what happens here. So Wardlow comes out, and he's initially just a heater. He's a heater
Yeah,
for MJF. That's what he's placed for, and
it's great.
it's great. It gives off very much like uh I don't know, Psycho Sid, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Shawn Michaels. It gives off that vibe that like
Absolutely, exactly
I
like that.
need that.
Yes.
And the problem, and I know there's going to be some people that are going to be angry at the fact that we're only bringing up Shawn Michaels and a heater. It's the problem because only Shawn made it look as good as MJF did. No one else has been able to have a heater this way and make it look good.
Right.
So that's why MJF is in that category. No one is comparing Max to Shawn Michaels. Calm down. But getting back to this, he's a heater. Slowly but surely, MJF starts treating him horribly. The crowd is getting behind him. He has this powerbomb symphony. CM Punk comes to the company. They immediately start with CM Punk versus MJF. They're like, let's get this out there. We're a young company. This is a feud that's going to get us massive following. It does. It works. Punk has to go through what Cody Rhodes had to go through, which is make his way through the gauntlet. I love Cody. You love Cody.
Yeah.
Cody's match with Wardlow did not do the same thing that Punk's match with Wardlow did. Cody's match made Cody look strong. Wardlow versus Punk made Wardlow look like a credible superstar. That's what CM Punk did. That's a small difference, not saying Punk is better, but you would say the same thing, right?
No, not saying he's better, but he is. Like I think Punk's match with Wardlow was worlds better than Cody's, or with Max was worlds better than what Cody's was too.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really well Wardlow and Max. That match was like just 1,000 power bombs, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep, that was what
I
it
mean,
was.
Max did make him. He did give him that rub. That was great. But so getting back to this, Wardlow gets really hot. It starts to catch the attention of everybody consuming the AEW brand. Such legends as Diamond Dallas Page have proclaimed him the modern day Goldberg. And AEW, for one reason or another, after Wardlow goes through the gauntlet, gets fired, gets his job back, gets a contract with AEW, beats Max, and is at the height of his career, he comes out and he cuts what quite possibly might be, I would say, the most disheartening promo I've ever heard for a big guy like Wardlow. He comes out, he says he's going after the TNT title because doesn't he wants to make his way through and he
The
wants to
right way.
avoid the world champion. And it's just like, that's not what any wrestling fan today wants. And I really think that promo was the beginning of the end. What would you say?
Yeah, yeah. Looking back on it, that's probably true. This is when he didn't go in the Rampage Rumble or whatever,
Yes, yes.
because was it that? Yeah, because or was it the Battle Royal? No, it was the Battle Royal to face what's his face? Tanahashi.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he didn't go in it because he wanted to do it the right way. And yeah, it's not a babyface in 2023. That's not what we want.
No, no.
That's
I
like that would have worked in 1995.
agreed. But it's not going to work now. We're in this day and age where wrestling fans like a different champion here and then. I mean, we've seen the biggest critique about Roman Reigns isn't his story. There are two things can be true. You could love the bloodline storyline, but you could hate the fact that he's world champion. There have been tons, thousands of people that have come on TikTok, that have come on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and they've complained that Roman Reigns does not need the title. So we know that a title change doesn't mean as much as it used to. It used to be a bigger deal. We're in this day and age where right now all the world champions are holding it for an extended period of time. Gunther, MJF, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I mean, Bianca held it for like 400 and I don't know 430 days. I don't want to be disrespectful to her, but I don't really know the number. But we've seen this happen lately. I think the Usos held the tag team titles for like a year and a half, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. They it might even be more. They broke the New Day's record, whatever it was.
Yes, 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 yes. I think that was a 500-day record. I think they broke it. But they, for some reason, AEW just didn't want to pull the trigger. They wanted to keep pushing their guys, which is fine. We get it. You know, like you don't want to push a guy that big. You have a consumer that's watching your product, and if you push a guy that big to the world title, then you're kind of copying the other guy, and they are miles apart different. So I understand why AEW didn't pull the trigger, why they had him cut that promo in hindsight. I don't understand, but I think that they had him win the TNT title, drop the TNT title, win the TNT title, drop the TNT title. Then Samoa Joe comes in and cuts his hair. He leaves, he comes back. It was just such a start stop. It's ruined his whole
But
thing. So, but
I think
go
he
ahead.
was hurt then. To be
Hmm.
honest, when Joe cut his hair and beat him, but then to have
Yeah,
Joe then lose it a week later to Darby is like that just kind of makes him look even worse.
agreed. Agreed. And honestly, to me, it seems like Darby's the guy that they kind of want to push in that spot. So why they didn't just have Darby be the one to beat Wardlow? It would have come off as 1, 2, 3 Kid Razor Ramon. It wouldn't have hurt Wardlow to drop the title to Darby. Why the transition of Samoa Joe only to have, I guess, just for the fact that Wardlow has something to conquer on his way back? I don't understand the logic behind that booking decision.
Not only that, and they're not one to do a lot of face versus face or heel versus heel. It
Mhm.
doesn't seem. They did it this weekend with the Bucks and FTR,
That
but
was
in
actually a
general,
major flaw about the pay per view. We talked about it yesterday. That their face versus face thing. They really like the feel good moment.
yeah. And now they're teaming together.
Mhm. Yeah, which is very strange. Very strange.
Yeah,
I think it's ultimately going to lead to another match between the four.
it could. I mean, I don't know. I thought they did a good job, as good a job as they could building the show last night when they only had last night to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I thought last night was a relatively entertaining show. It wasn't one of their better episodes, but like I don't generally find myself bored when I'm watching Dynamite. That's a difference that I can see from Raw.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, for one, it's only 2 hours, so I think it's just they gotta get there's stuff is happening all the time. Whereas there's segments on Raw that I just don't care. Like there's still some little stupid comedy segments here and there that I'm just like I
Mhm.
just don't care. But it's a 3 hour show, so they have to fill 3 hours. So
Agreed. Agreed. We've talked about this in the past, though. Like, are you happy with AEW bringing in the comedy?
no,
Hmm.
well to some extent it's okay. Just as long as it doesn't become like Vince McMahon loves poop jokes.
Hmm.
It just
Okay.
depends on what it is and how much of it there is.
Okay.
I think first and foremost, as he discussed last weekend, this company has got to be about wrestling.
Yes. Agreed. I
Because
agree
the
with you.
thing is, and Eric Bischoff has said this time and time again,
Hmm.
he was never going to be as good as WWE. So instead of being WWE light and being less than, he just chose to be different, and that's what they need to do. They need to choose to be different.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you there. Honestly, when I look at what's transpiring, I feel like AEW is trying their best to make Saturday their wrestling show, right?
And that could be definitely.
And I think Dynamite is like I think they're trying to separate the shows, kind of like Raw and SmackDown. Like I don't know. Was it you that said this? Where like Dynamite's like the Raw, and then Collision's like the SmackDown with the SmackDown 6. That's what it kind of feels like.
We discussed it. think you may have brought it up, but it's
Whoever brought it up, it was a good topic. So, I mean, so this weekend we have All Out, right?
yeah.
And we find out, and this is one of the things that I don't like about the internet. I don't like about the IWC. We learned today that the main
How lucky you
event,
got.
yeah, we learned today that the main event for All Out was supposed to be Ricky Starks versus CM Punk.
I did see something to that effect, and
Yes.
I don't understand why we're not doing it, but
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that we need to get to the point where we need to suspend these guys for this. Like, the show's in Chicago.
you could, yeah, exactly. He is a huge selling point of the show.
Mm-hmm.
People have bought tickets
To see
expecting to see
CM
him.
Punk.
You couldn't have find him some ungodly sum. You couldn't have, you know, Tony's. This is a case of Tony overstepping, getting too big for his britches, so to speak.
Agreed. It was so weird to do the scrum. And now, like, more and more information, like, oh, so they're interviewing everybody in the back, and there's footage of the altercation, and it's just like, why? Like, if you're gonna use this, then learn from Eric Bischoff, learn from old Vince McMahon. Like, use this. CM Punk now confused with Jack Perry. What a way to get Jack Perry over. CM Punk can show. This is the problem. We talked about this on a podcast a couple weeks ago, that we thought that the Bucks should do business with Punk, right? And that Punk was willing to do business with the Bucks. So let us see that play out. Tell these guys, hey, you know what? You guys did this to me. You affected my show. That's supposed to be the biggest show in wrestling history. Now you're going to go out there and you're going to make me some money. Punk, I need you to make this, kid. Like, you're the boss. Why is that not the first thought? Why is it immediately like, let's suspend these guys?
I mean, I get that I can see where he's sensitive about the work environment, whatever, because there's been so many people coming out and saying, "Oh, the locker room's toxic,"
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And then when we hear what's going on, I hear a lot of people saying that sounds like a wrestling locker room.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's whatever we can do. But you know what I want to talk about with you, Tyler? I want to talk about the podcast that I listened to last night, and I want to talk about some of the things because you made a comment to me, and I wanted to tell you, like, I wanted to have this conversation on our podcast because I really didn't get what you got out of the podcast. So you told me you listened to a specific podcast about AEW All In, and you felt like there was lots of good things said on the podcast. I really felt like I thought it was a harsh podcast. I was not happy. It was my least favorite podcast in that whole slate. Like that, I'm a fan, a massive fan of that podcast. It was I felt like he was very negative. Okay, a lot of these matches caught like 6 ratings, and I was like, what the heck? He was very happy with the Jericho match, but he was very clear. Jericho and Sting got higher marks on their matches because of his personal connection, which is just like, okay, well, then the rest of the show, you're going to be pretty cool about it, and you're going to give me like proper rankings, but then when it comes to Jericho and Sting matches, because you worked with them and you love those guys, you're going to give them high marks.
Well, I don't even think it's necessarily that. It's that that's part of it. But like when he says personal connection, I think he means to some degree he knows who they are. They're stars that he's seen before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. He essentially gives like a 6 or a 6.5 to the whole show, right? And then he gives praise to the Jericho Will Ospreay match. He says it's a 9 based on what Will Ospreay was able to do in the match, and based on the fact that, you know, the legend of Jericho, and essentially like how he was really surprised. He does start off disagreeing with his co-host, saying that he didn't think Jericho kept up, but then he praised the rest of the card, and it just felt disingenuous. Why did you think he did that? Did you feel that way? Like he wasn't able to keep up, but I was still happy with the performance.
To me, we got a floor cleaner going by, so put the other headphone in. To me, keep up is I don't know. I just thought it was an all right match. I mean, I thought it was, I didn't think it was a 10, but I would have said it was a 7.
I mean, he gave it a 9. He gave it a 9. So there only two matches on his rankings. He gave a 9, and that was the Jericho Osprey and the main event.
Yeah, and if we're doing 5, if we're doing that out of 5, I'd say it's it's a 3.5.
Okay.
The main event probably 4 or higher. Punk and Joe's probably 4 or higher.
Yeah.
Bucks versus FTR is probably a 4. Um, I thought the whole show was right around 3.54.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Punk, like if we're ranking it out of 5, if I'm gonna say like let's see, 5 empanadas, let's see, I'm gonna
Okay.
give you yeah, I'm gonna give the CM Punk Joe match, I'm gonna give it a 5. I thought it was a perfect match. Especially knowing the circumstances, like just I feel like that adds to it. Like I would give it like a 4.5, but just knowing that CM Punk, that he had a real life fight backstage and went out there and he put on that performance. I feel like he does, like that match deserves a 5. And from what I gathered, Joe was not happy about what happened backstage. He had to convince Punk to go do business. That he was that hot. So I feel like the both of them going out there being angry at each other, like Punk being angry at Joe, like you're making me do this, and then Joe being angry at Punk, and he's like, like we're doing this. I like if Samoa Joe yells in my face, tells me to go do something, I'm gonna do it. Like,
Yep.
Yep. I would say that the tag match, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it 4 empanadas, one for each of them. I would probably give it a 4.5 or 5 if the injury doesn't occur, because I feel like there is a slow point in the match, and I think the fans actually saw it too, because the fans were kind of slow in the beginning and then they picked up. I don't like the fact that, and this is not, I'm not disparaging or I'm not pointing out Cash or anything like that, but I hate the fact that he had like his 450 didn't land clean and he smacked his face. Like I just thought that sucked. Like I feel like people are gonna remember that, like they remember Brock Lesnar's botch at WrestleMania 19. Like Angle says it all the time, the match is spectacular, but nobody thinks about it. They just think about Lesnar torpedoing his head. Darby, Sting, and Swerve. That was I got to give that a 4.5. I really do. I'm not giving it a 5 just on principle, because Darby, he put himself in harm's way and it wasn't a good spot. It just wasn't.
I mean, if you want to talk about unsafe, like that's just stupid.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
There's nothing that can happen but you get hurt. The human body's not meant to do that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think at some point either you're gonna rig the contraption so that way when you take a bump like that, it doesn't necessarily like hurt you or concuss you that way. And the accidents always happen, but as we stated on our audio pod yesterday, coffins are meant to take on a lot of pressure and they don't catch a dent. Like when caskets are exhumed for criminal reasons, the casket is in perfect shape with all of that weight on top of it. So I just feel like that was such a bad spot.
Yeah, let's not use a shoe cap. Let's not use a shoe coffin next time. Let's gimmick it.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you could tell the WWF coffin or WWE coffin, like that coffin's that's not a real coffin.
Well,
Like especially
it's built out of wood.
Agreed. Yeah. I think they stopped using the wood ones though, like after the HBK injury.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Would you say that? Like if you
I don't remember the last casket match I saw, honestly.
Was it Mark Henry and Taker?
Jeez, is it really?
Maybe. Yeah.
No, he had one with show. He had one with show, I think.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. So, yeah, the women's match, I'd give it a 3.5. I think I went back and rewatched this match. I told Tyler I was gonna rewatch it. I think he said to. And honestly, I have been very disparaging of her. I actually think Britt Baker was the best in the whole match. I can't even keep it from her. I really feel like she was the star of the match. There's I don't know. What did you
Yeah.
think of that?
Surprises me to hear you say that. I thought everyone involved did a good job, but like, I mean, yeah, I think she held her own.
Yeah.
Can I
Those are
just say,
four bona fide stars, three bona fide stars, and then Britt Baker, a star in the making, and she held her own.
that the work Tony Storm is doing right now is phenomenal.
Yes. Yes. Our one of our sister podcasts, Working the Marks, there one of the co-hosts, Patty Reekin, he actually said that he feels like this is what was missing from Tony Storm, and that she can go back to the E right now and she would be super successful. This is what she was missing from her character. And it's really sad that it took her to leave and have to do this. But if she gets the Cody Rhodes treatment, like, I'm all for it. Make yourself an AEW and go back. Maybe that's what this company could be used for.
I guess, or you could just have a great career there.
She's definitely going to be the first 3-time women's champion. Like, you could tell what she's doing right now. Fans are eating that shit up.
Yeah, she just throws her shoe at Renee last night. Like that's just,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, definitely like this. So I give it a 3.5. The Stampede match, I think you're going to give it a higher mark than I am. I wasn't a fan. It was organized chaos. I know Eric Bischoff said that his star of the match was Cesaro. He felt like he was the star of the match. He felt like he should have been on screen more, but he doesn't like the fact that he it looks like he just has high marks for Cesaro in general, and then just kind of felt like he just kind of felt like he was underutilized. One of another podcast called Biconics has made the comment about how their problem is that Cesaro is the Ring of Honor champion and he hasn't defended the title. He hasn't even shown up at Ring of Honor shows. Like, it's I originally thought he was holding the title for Mark, but now I don't know what
he
the point
defended the
is.
title at last pay-per-view.
I guess
It's less than a month, I think. Yeah, at Death Before Dishonor, he defended against Pac.
okay.
It was supposed to be Mark hurt.
Okay.
Like apparently, like really hurt.
All right. Yeah, I thought the show itself was great. I enjoyed the 6-man tag a lot more than it seems like a lot of people did. I think this is one of those things where, oh yeah, the Stampede match, I'll give it a 2.5. I don't know what you give him.
Yeah, probably 3.5, I guess.
Yeah,
it was better than I anticipated. It was fun. And that's what those matches are. I mean,
agreed. So moving on to the 6-man tag, I'd give it a 3.5.
Yeah, no problem with that. It was, it's a bit of a spot fest, but like, what are you expecting there?
Agreed. We talked about this last night that Adam Page and Jay White are kind of absent from the match a lot, and I don't know if that was the intention, but it definitely hurt. It definitely hurt the match, I thought. I thought if you involved those two a lot more, I think the match probably wins match of the night, but for some reason we didn't get that.
Love to see those two one-on-one.
Yeah. Agreed. I definitely want to see them go at it. I think that'd be great, but obviously...
But Adam Page is not allowed on Collision, so...
That's weird. Yeah.
You can't play in that playground.
Yeah. What match am I missing besides the main event?
The 6th person.
We just talked about it.
The other 6, the trios.
Oh, the trios match. It was fine. I give it a 2.
It was exactly that. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I give it a 2. For the level of talent in the ring, like the 6 of those guys, like, say what you will about Billy Gunn, but he has never been a bad wrestler. He can work, and for what his wrestling style is, he sticks to it. He doesn't go outside of it, and it works specifically for him. He has been inside the ring, bell to bell. He has, besides character development, he's been the same Billy Gunn we've gotten from the Smoking Guns to now. He's always worked this style. He's bigger than you. He's going to throw you around. He's going to give you the Fame-Asser. and he's probably going to press you.
Did you
It's
know
going to be
he's
great.
a shoot rodeo cowboy?
No.
Yeah, I was watching one of those lists last night. Like it was like former WCW jobbers at the King Stars,
Oh,
and yeah, he was on the rodeo circuit and decided to give pro wrestling a try.
interesting.
That's probably why he ended up in the tag team he did, because Vince will ask you like, "What have you done in your life?" And
Hmm.
probably thought that was interesting, so they became rodeo cowboys. I don't know how
Yeah.
Bart got roped into it, but
However, it worked. I mean, we got Bart Gunn because we had an amazing brawl for all that people still talk about in 2023. So it was great. Uh, Moving on to the main event of the evening. I guess we kind of went over this on our audio, but we didn't really rank them, so we're gonna rank them. The main event, I'm gonna give it 4.25. Like I'm gonna give you 4 empanadas, and then you could take a bite of the fifth one. Like that's
okay,
kind of how that's how I
that's
feel about it.
I'm surprised because we were given it the blue French horn yesterday. So
I do think I do not like the finish. I don't like the story. I don't like the progression of the story. Only for Wednesday night, them not to do anything with. Like, okay, we're just gonna go back to tagging together. I just don't. Not a fan of this. I don't think that the ending at All In helps the story at all. I think what happened last night helps the story, but initially I felt like we had the 6 man with the title swap. We had Soraya winning the world title. We had um, the celebration with Adam Cole and MJF at the end. I felt like it was all about feel good moments. Like, oh, we're gonna
yeah,
we're gonna cap off our
yeah.
inaugural big stadium show with feel good moments, and it was just like, okay, I
I
just
mean,
like.
I guess that makes sense to me because I do feel like it's their mania,
Mhm.
and mania typically ends with the babyface going over and the fans go home happy, except for this year.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of heel mania wins over the years, though.
Yep.
Uh, yes, we have.
All right.
But so yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we thought of the card. We went into every match and dissected it yesterday on our audio pod, but for this purposes of this, everybody's ranking stuff, and I didn't really have a star or a mushroom or weed flowers or nothing, and I just thought about what one of my favorite things to eat is, and I just said empanadas because they're delicious. So that'll be my ranking from now on.
I'll go with I guess I'll go with burgers.
There you go, there you go. So moving on to last night in AEW Dynamite, what did you think of them teasing a feud with Jericho and Sammy, only to have them kiss and make up again?
It's they're doing Brett and Owen.
Huh. And who's playing Owen?
I guess it's got to be Sammy, right?
I guess.
Because he was ready to go, and then Chris was like, "Come on, don't you don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll fight for the tag team titles."
Okay, so it's going to be Sammy and Jericho versus MJF and Adam Cole. That sounds great. Or are they feuding with FTR then? What are they going to do?
I believe it's FDR. Oh God, give me the other one. Yeah, give me the other one. I
I
don't know how
suppose.
I don't know how long they'll have those titles though.
Yeah. You know what I got to say that stuck out to me is a really great thing yesterday? Uh, Orange Cassidy's promo.
Yeah, that was
I
didn't see that coming.
no. No, if this man can talk, if this is something like where we're about to start getting him talking on the mic and he can do this, like replicate this, uh, I think a lot of people are in trouble in AEW because he might take over the company because he is already like that tops guy, and I feel like he's gonna ruin a lot for them, like in a good way, in a good way. Like when a guy comes out of nowhere, and does things like it's one thing to have him go out there and put on these phenomenal matches, but we've kind of seen him as a chill guy. If he's gonna start talking now, It's definitely going to add to his character.
Yeah. Um, and I figured out what you meant about the no sell. And yeah, can I just say that I'm distraught that the Canadian destroyer has become a clothesline?
Yeah, yeah, I
Like it's
saw
one
that
thing for the
spot.
super kick. It's one thing for the super kick, but like now we're just there's a Canadian destroyer in every other match.
Yeah,
It's,
I agree with you. I feel like it's definitely one of those silly moves. I've not that I've come around to the super kick
definitely a silly
like
move, but like
oversaturation, but I realize that it's a part of wrestling now. Like it's just a move now. Like it's not going to be anybody's finish. And honestly, I did some research on the super kick before we get back to the Canadian destroyer. If we go back, the super kick has kind of always been a setup move for everyone. Like Lance Storm does it. There's only really just incredible does it. Sam Steve Carino. I'm sorry, Steve Carino does it. So many wrestlers have actually done the super kick besides Samoans. It felt
Credible used it as a finish, though, didn't
no, he used a tombstone. It was a twisting tombstone.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, his tombstone was sick, man. Tombstone's one of the coolest moves ever. I just, just it looks a lot better when it's coming from a guy who's 6'11".
Oh yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah. So I guess like going back to the Canadian destroyer, I guess it just feels like uh Amazing Red comes up with this move. Petey Williams steals it, makes use of it on TNA, and it becomes his finisher, which is that's a different thing. That's beautiful. And now it's just become like it's just a cool spot.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it like Rey Mysterio and Andrade did it on SmackDown, don't do it. You don't remember that the spot?
No, I've truthfully over the years I haven't watched a lot of SmackDown.
Okay, well let's stick to AEW then. What are your
Sorry.
thoughts on Eddie Kingston having to go through the BCC to get to Cesaro? Like that Cesaro's playing his boss, like the boss he has to get to,
So
starting his feud with
so
Wheeler
Cesaro
Yuta.
went to MJF and was like, "Hey, what should I do
Mm,
to get this match set up?"
mhm.
And like it's in a way it's cool. Like he's playing the final boss or whatever. Like he gives off very final boss vibes.
Mm.
Um, especially they put him in a suit. You know,
Yeah,
uh, but I mean that's just something we've seen so many times.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, and I don't want to sound like this guy because I feel like I'm going to come off as a super fan right now. I feel like Eddie Kingston is saving the BCC right now because they're kind of floundering without Brian.
I guess I haven't really noticed that much of a difference other than Brian's. I don't know if he is though. I was gonna say maybe he's probably the best talker of the group. But
I I love Brian Danielson, but did you just say he's a better talker than John Moxley?
well, that's why I said I don't know if he is.
Oh, okay.
Because like I love so the Moxley I love is the one that's like remember when he would cut those promos and he's like he seems like he's unhinged back there like
Yes. Yeah. He
he's
hated that character. I don't know
fucking
why. He was
pacing
great
back
at
and
it.
forth and
Yeah.
yeah it was tremendous. The AEW one
Yeah.
you didn't like that?
AEW John Moxley?
Yeah he
No,
wasn't bad.
I love everything about Moxley. I don't hate
Uh,
anything. I'm not
no
jumping on the bandwagon. I love
saying,
him.
I'm saying John didn't like it. Is that what you're saying?
John who?
Moxley.
Oh no, he doesn't like Ambrose, Dean Ambrose.
No, no, I'm not talking about Dean Ambrose. I'm talking about when he was talking about like he would talk about like whoever he was gonna fight in Japan next, or whoever
Yeah,
messing with his,
yeah,
and they'd be like pacing back and forth, and
yeah.
he'd be
I love
like
that.
kind of talking in like short sentences, and yeah, I dug that a lot, and like it seems he's gone away from that, and
Yeah,
now he just bleeds.
yeah.
Now that's Randy the Ram right there to me.
Well, Randy the Ram could try his best. It's gonna take Stephen Amell redoing the movie so he could be as good as a professional wrestler as John Moxley is.
I mean, maybe not to the extent that his skills are diminished, but like he just seems like he's just decided like this is what I'm gonna do.
I suppose. I actually think that a good wrestler movie with a guy like Dave Batista would be really well received. I feel like that could be like Batista winning like an Oscar because he's a phenomenal actor and I feel like this is something he does really well. I would figure out a way to make a movie with Batista involving professional wrestling so that way he can combine his two loves and then he can give us like the emotions of being injured and all of the stuff that he had to go through in his real life. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that could work.
So let's move on to what are your thoughts? I really wanted to talk about this in depth with you. So let's spend some time on this next topic. Let's go into it. What are your thoughts on LA Knight and the Miz? What do you think is happening? What do you think the plan is? Are they trying to use the Miz to get the Enzo out of LA Knight, or are they using the Miz to get the most out of LA Knight to get him ready for the next spot? Because I feel like you can make an argument for both.
Yeah, to me it was a logical progression just to get him. Like the Miz hasn't won a match in God knows how long, right? But at the same time,
Mm,
he's still over. He still can be considered a top mid card heel,
mm.
and it's just a progression to get him to the next step rather than throwing him into the deep end and saying, "Here, swim."
Yes, I agree
That's
with
what it
you.
seems like to me. And the next, I don't know who's next, but it'll be someone higher on the food chain, and um,
I mean, to be quite honest with you, when I look at this feud, this is just what the Miz does. He just gets over his feud. He makes his feud the most important feud in wrestling. That's what he does every time. Like
I mean, it's definitely not that, but
no, but I'm sure he's weeks away from making that happen. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a part of the Miz that says to himself, "Hey, this guy's a future main eventer. What if this gets us both into the main event?" You know?
you don't think he realizes that the only way he ends up back there as a means to an end.
What is that?
Basically, like like when he had the Money in the Bank and he won, he convinced Lashley to beat up Drew so he could cash in and win the title, so then he could just drop it to Lashley, something like that.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it kept Drew strong. Um, he got to have the title for a minute, and then Lashley beat him, and nobody was really hurt by it other than Miz. And Miz can take that every day of the week and still be over.
Yeah, agreed. I guess I don't really see it that way. I thought it was kind of like a swim, like sink or swim type of thing. Like, let's go out there, let's cut this promo, let's go out there, let's make fun of everything that LA Knight does to the crowd. Kind of like pointing out that he's kind of like a throwback, and he might not be like meant for this era of professional wrestling. And then let's like if he swims, then let's go with it. Let's keep going. Because as it was pointed out in a podcast, and I don't remember what podcast I heard it from, but as it was pointed out before, like a t-shirt sales are not going to do it. It cannot be the only reason you're over. People like your merchandise. You're gonna have to sell. You're gonna have to be the main event. You're gonna have to draw people in. People are gonna want to show up at the shows because of you. And right now, WWE is oversaturated with amazing talent. It's possibly one of the strongest rosters ever in terms of in-ring performers. I mean, the Judgment Day, all four. The New Day are back. Sammy and Kevin, the entire bloodline, almost everyone at NXT, the mid card, the lower card of WWE Raw and SmackDown, the women, the, that's their own kind of brand. I mean, this is going to be a big deal. Okay, so there's a Grand Slam World Title Eliminator.
Yeah.
You neglected to tell me that.
I thought you watched the show.
I'm watching it right now as we talk.
Are you watching it right now?
I'm 55 minutes in, just like I'm right on. Yeah, I'm 55 minutes in, just like our podcast.
Okay, I guess we started that at the same time.
Yeah, it's all about that boom.
He's coming out right now, right?
Yeah.
I want to tell me if the stream screws up for you in the middle of this.
Oh, that would annoy me.
It annoyed me.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, Xfinity, what's going on with your prices?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, not to sidetrack here, but que carajo pasa? Because 1 minute is $50 for like 400 MPs or whatever it is, and then next minute, my next bill is $90. What's going on here?
That's like it's like a certain co-host who messaged me the other morning was like, "Yo, we should split the Sunday ticket for the monthly fee." And then I go look at what it is, and I'm like, "Ay caramba!" Yes.
No, that's $30 a month. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you also have to have YouTube TV.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. I looked it up.
Oh, they changed it. You didn't used to have it.
It's like it ends up being like $80.
Oh, $40 a month. I feel like I would have to cancel Netflix, Hulu.
No, 40 plus 40. Like it would cost us both $80 a month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nah,
bro. I'm gonna get Red Zone. We'll be fine.
Oh, that's crazy, Taxi. I can't even. Oh man.
I was like, this man thinks I'm rich.
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be that much. I didn't know. I was like, whoa, okay. That's crazy.
This is the We Talk About Everything edition of Must Love Wrestling.
All right. Breaking news. Let's talk about this because this is gonna piss me off here. So.
Is it breaking news or did the news break 24 hours ago and you're watching it now?
Yeah, this broke 24 hours ago. So let's start with the first rumor. How's that? How about we start with the rumor? We could talk about the rumor and then we can go on from there.
Okay.
So it was reported that Damian Priest is due to cash in the Money in the Bank at Payback.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
There is a good chance that he fails. Finn and McDonough will cost Damian Priest the briefcase. And this will lead to a program between Damian, Finn, and McDonough.
I mean, story-wise, it makes sense. I know why you don't like it.
Well, it's not so much that. It's just like, let's go back to like the last couple of Money in the Banks.
I mean, I respect it too, but the story makes sense.
I mean, yes, it makes sense because of the amount of times that Finn has been screwed over by that briefcase, and then he's like, you know what, I just wanted it out of our lives, so sorry if you failed. I think it adds layers to the story, like, I think it adds layers to the story in terms of Finn can use it there. Seth can look really strong because even a cash-in can't take the title off him. So then it's like, ooh, who's going to be the guy to beat Finn? Or who's going to be the guy to beat Seth if it's not going to be Shinsuke Nakamura? So, yeah, however it works. Obviously, I've kind of, and I've said this on our podcast before, I've kind of looked at it, and I think I might have said this in like on our Together podcast. I've kind of looked at it as that I think Damian Priest winning the title, although I think it's going to mean a lot to some people. You know, I think that I think it's a way to get the title on Finn Balor, but I could be wrong. I
We've
just feel like
discussed it.
that's the ultimate Ed game. I think it's like there's no reporting on that. No one has said that. No Eric Bischoff, no Zero News, no Sports Acadia, no Sporting News, whatever. No Billy Body. Nobody has said that. That is just my opinion. It feels like Damian Priest is a means to, like Tyler says, a means to an end. I think it's a way to get the title inevitably on Finn Balor.
Well, remember what happened the last time you thought the title was going on Finn Balor.
The stream cut for like a hot second, but the Kingdom is in the ring right now with Adam Cole yelling at him. So
yeah, for me it was when Mike Bennett was talking.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's because of what the crowd was chanting at him. Maybe that's why it cut.
That could be. I don't think about it.
Yeah, they were chanting some pretty lewd comments. I don't know why people hate Mike Bennett so much. He's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but his wife is definitely the star. Like,
sure.
I mean,
she's one of the most beautiful women in the history of professional wrestling. So.
Well, yeah, but she's also a really good character. I mean, when she did that court case thing, remember that thing in WWE a while back where they had, and she just broke character and was like, "Whoa, like you're really smart." It's kind of like Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob, where he's just so quiet, like smoking ciggies, and then all of a sudden he's like, "You're chasing Amy," and then he just goes on this like tangent, and it's like, "Come on now, like that's great." So,
yeah,
however it works. I think it's great. I think it's good story, but yeah, I don't know. I guess when I look at it, I'm just a little annoyed because I feel like Otis won the Money in the Bank, he lost it. Then the Miz got it, he held the title for a week. Baron Corbin failed the Money in the Bank. Like the most recent Money in the Bank winners have not really had success, and I thought this was supposed to lead to the next star.
And let's not forget the shit show that was last year.
Oh, yeah. Austin Theory gets caked in the match just for him to cash in on a United States championship and then lose. It's like, all right. And then the worst part about that, the reason that I agree with Tyler that shit show is the perfect term for this because the dude wins the U.S. title like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, yeah.
So it's like...
And then held it for months.
Yeah. For longer than months, guy. He just lost it.
Yeah,
he
like
held
I said,
it for like 290 days.
He won a Survivor Series, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and then he lost.
Yeah, I guess it's close to that.
Yeah, he lost it to some child wearing a mask. So it's like whatever. Like it's just
you never know. It could be.
Well, Dom did say that he thinks it's pretty upsetting that he had to go out there and try to win a championship to be like champion of the United States, but it doesn't matter because Dom is actually the champion of the entire North America. So
yeah,
that's what matters. That means that Dom is the champion of Canada as well.
Yeah, we don't acknowledge him.
Well, listen, he's a phenomenal young talent. So, I mean, it's definitely exciting. I know you're not prepared for this, so I figure I'll just take all 4 of them for you this week. And why don't we take a break right here and do our intermission since we haven't done it in a couple weeks.
Oh, buddy, I got a trivia question for you.
Oh, well, there you go. You can do the 4th one. I will do this day in wrestling history. I will do the match recommendation of the week. I will do the wrestling quote, and you can give us the trivia question. Sure. How's that? All right, guys. So here we go. This day in wrestling history, and this is very topical, people. Chris Jericho was crowned the very first AEW World Champion as he defeated Adam Hangman Page at All Out. That's pretty cool, man. It's 4 years to the day. That's awesome. What do you think of that?
That is cool. I didn't realize it was I knew it was at this arena, but I didn't know that it was. I guess I should have, but that it was this close. It's also 4 years to the day that CM Punk made his return to the wrestling space for the first time since he walked out of WWE.
Oh, wow.
That except for maybe GTSing people under a mask, we don't know for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true.
but he was at Starcast. He did a panel. It's
Oh,
Conrad's
nice.
Conrad's little not little. It's a huge
Yes, it's
um,
very huge.
huge uh, convention that he
Yeah,
typically does around All Out.
yeah. I want to wish a happy birthday to some underappreciated stars in pro wrestling. I feel like I've been bleeding Tyler's ears with my man's name lately, but happy 46th birthday, the Willow of the Wisp, Jeff Hardy, and happy 44th. She does not look a day over 25. Mickey James. That is pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
Mickey James.
yeah. That's definitely yeah. She definitely doesn't. I wouldn't have guessed that she was that old, other than she's been around forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I so my match recommendation of the week, people, is Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, NXT Takeover New York. This match is phenomenal, guys. You got to go back and watch it. The reason that this match came up to me is because I've been watching so much Adam Cole lately, getting ready for his match against MJF. And I've thought to myself, where in the world is Johnny Gargano? And I thought, you know what? I miss Johnny, but I've been trying to watch a lot of Adam Cole. So let me just go back and watch their spectacular match. Did you like this match?
This is the 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's very very good.
Hmm.
I did not get the opportunity to watch it live. That was the weekend. My sister was in town. I think you were in town as well. I believe we went to Disney. Uh,
Oh, you met Arthur.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
officially.
I have really great photos of him. He actually
So
has
do
one
I.
in. I don't know if I ever told you this. He has a photo of you in his room because
I
Arthur
didn't.
Arthur has this little contraption that you hook up on Bluetooth to my phone, and
Mhm.
he can print photos on like little Polaroids. So he's got little Polaroid photos, and he wanted to print a photo of him and Uncle Tyler. So he's got the one where you guys are holding hands in the hotel.
I have that on my Facebook, and the caption is "That's Uncle Tyler's music."
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that one. Yep,
yeah.
it's my
He
little dude.
loves. Yeah, that's definitely one. That's a good moment. I love I love that time. I wish we can go back to that time. We will come back to visit. You know, if you're still living in that state. Uh
Well, you got a year for sure.
well, next summer we're going to Puerto Rico, so
See what happens after that.
yeah, agreed. Oh, well, breaking news for Tyler. This is kind of a personal thing. My niece has her baptism in October, so I will be in Florida in October.
It's crazy. You know who else is going to be in Florida in October?
Who?
Dave Leitner.
Get out of here. Maybe the three of us
Yeah,
can meet up and go hit a link. I'll
I
bring my
was I
golf
was
clubs.
I was texting him to try to go to Vegas with me, and he's like, "Well, we're doing Disney in October, so maybe I'll see you then."
Holy crap, that's awesome. Well, I know I can't go to Florida without going to Disney, so that's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. let's,
So,
let's not discuss our vacation plans on the podcast, but we'll figure it out.
yeah, I mean that's fine. That's a good thing. Maybe we could film a podcast in person. We could
Oh,
sit down and do
jeez.
it together. That would be great. Then we could, you know what? It is October. We should just do Montreal. We should just do the screw job in person. We might wind up killing each other on the podcast.
Actual physical violence on the podcast. Because
Yeah, yeah.
don't you think I'm not loading up?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna win this. I know I'm gonna win this. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm
to be
ready
fair,
to
you do
go.
have the easier side to argue.
What? What do you? What? Just
I,
because of the argument I'm gonna use?
you have a little bit of an easier side, don't you think? Guy screwed over by billionaire boss, or the other side, which is easier?
Yeah, I guess I do, but I feel like people like the way Road Dogg was crying about on his podcast. I feel like people really like bad guys, so I feel like
Yeah,
people
but they
don't
don't like
care.
Vince McMahon.
I guess. All right.
Vince McMahon will be long dead, and people will still think he's running creative.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that, but I mean
Whoa,
that's
why? I mean, it's gonna happen someday.
yeah, but I'm weird with death.
I'm
I'm
not
weird.
encouraging it to happen. I'm just saying it. It'll happen, and 20 years later, people will be like, Vince wrote that show.
That is true.
Like he's
You
just, you know, reaching up from down below, pulling the puppet strings.
yeah. I guess I agree with you. All right,
Yeah, I
here's my
said what I said.
promo. Yeah, here's my promo. Here's my promo. I'm actually gonna read the whole thing. Is that
Okay.
good, or do you want to wait?
No, do it.
All right. Macho Man Randy Savage, Sarasota, Florida. Come on in. You're going to be defending against the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat. What's the cup for? WrestleMania 3, Pontiac, Michigan. Yeah, 90,000 plus people watching right here. This is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time because he'll never get closer than that now. I am the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and I will remain the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. And George the Animal Steel on the outside will be no factor. Yeah. What? I had to say that one because Arthur's never cut a promo to me, and he will not stop saying "cup of coffee" in the morning to me. So I was like, he really likes that promo, and I was like, I'm saving that for our next intermission.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Macho Man's prop phase. Uh,
Yes, cup of coffee, cream of the crop. I love it. Absolutely.
he's got he's got one where he cuts with a trash can on Tito Santana, talking about nothing but garbage, nothing but garbage, nothing but garbage.
Nothing but garbage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I don't know. All right. So, what's your trivia question, sir? As I cross my hands so you know I'm not cheating.
My trivia question is: what was the first main event for WrestleMania where both guys used their real names?
All right. Hold on a minute. This is good. That's a great one. Hold on. So WrestleMania 1, Hulk Hogan's not his real name. WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan's not his real name. Number 3, not his real name. WrestleMania 4, DiBiase, Randy Savage is not his real name. Number 5, Slaughter Hogan. Nope. Warrior
Five
Hogan.
was Hogan Macho.
Oh, Hogan Macho. Yeah. So, yeah. Hogan Macho. Nope. Hogan Warrior. Nope. Hogan Slaughter. Nope. Sid Hogan. Nope. Brett Yoko. Nope. Brett Yoko. Nope. Taylor Bigelow. Nope. Brett Shawn. Nope. Taker Sid.
Taylor Bigelow is close. His name is
Close.
Scott Bigelow.
Okay.
But no, that's not it.
All right. I think this is also off memory, guys. Like I'm just saying the main events in order. I think it's pretty cool for our podcast, by the way. As Tyler's really good with his memory too, so he'll correct me when I start getting them wrong. All right, so 13 was Taker, Sid, no. Sean Austin, no. Rock Austin, no. Triple H, no. He was in the main event. Triple H, Foley, Rock.
Big Show.
Giant. Yeah, the Giant. Or the Big Show, yeah. 17, Rock Austin, no. 18, WrestleMania 18. Triple H, Jericho, no. 19?
Yes.
Wow. It took 19 years for that to happen. That's a great question. That was Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. Those are their real names.
Saw that on that the Cultaholic, the bracket thing. That was one of the matches. I think. By the way, this is the first time. Yeah, I thought it was great.
All right. You know what I think would be great for our listeners?
What's that?
I just named 1 through 19. Why don't you name the next 20?
All right, let's see if we can do it. Triple H, Benoit, Shawn,
Uh huh.
Triple H, Batista,
Yep.
Triple H, Cena,
Yep.
Shawn Cena,
Yep.
Edge, Taker,
Yep.
Shawn Taker. No, I'm just kidding. It's Triple H and Orton.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Taker's the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Rock or not Rock? Cena, Miz with the Rock as a whatever the hell he was.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, Rock
The,
Cena,
Roxina.
Rock Cena 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan versus Orton versus Batista. Uh, yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying no. I said yes. I was just excited that you said Brian was in the main event.
Roman versus Brock with a guest appearance from Seth Rollins.
That's right.
Um, Roman versus Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Roman versus Taker.
Uh-huh.
Brock versus Roman.
Yep.
Geez, I wonder if maybe that was a bad idea to just keep sticking him in main events.
It's working out
Becky,
fine now. It's fine.
Becky versus Ronda. We'll forget the other part was even there. No,
Oh,
Becky,
stop.
Becky versus Ronda versus Charlotte.
Yep.
Uh,
That's when we were in Disney.
uh, shit, now I gotta go. We went to 2 nights after that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's make it a little more difficult.
Well, that's pretty good though, guys. We're pretty awesome at this. What do you think?
36 was the pandemic, right?
Yes.
So it
So
was Taker, AJ,
yes, and night
night
two
one,
was
and night 2 was Drew and Brock.
with a
The true,
special
ma-
guest
the
appearance
true,
by
the true main event was Drew versus Big Show, apparently.
yeah. Apparently, that was so weird. All right.
Um,
Next year
37,
was the live year, right? Live. What do they call it? The
sort of
COVID. There was like
live-ish. It
social
was
distancing.
It was live-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was night 1 was that Bianca and Sasha,
Yes.
and night 2 was Edge versus Roman with some other little B plus player goat looking guy sticking his nose in there.
It's still considered one of the best matches, and even though Brian hates that he was in it.
Him and I both.
Yeah. Well.
So that leads us to 38, and I may miss that because I did not see this one live. I was on a cruise. Night 2 was certainly Brock versus Roman,
Yes, sir. That was the unification of the
which is
titles.
why I was totally okay with not seeing it live.
Night one is a man who's been compared.
Oh yeah, I got it. It's Austin versus Kevin Owens.
That's right. And then 39 is
39. The rightful night 1 main event was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. They got it right.
whatever. I'm so glad that the match before that stole the show.
So some people in this podcast completely ruined it for me, but
I'm glad it ruined it for me.
giant,
I'm glad you shared in my dread.
largest hissy fit I've ever seen a grown man throw.
Yep, I was really angry.
I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but
you think that was bad? You should have heard my depression after the finale of MJF and Cole.
I did hear your depression.
Yeah, I was very depressed on that. But anyway, night 2.
I have voice receipts.
Yeah.
Night 2. So night 2.
Great main event.
Night 2 ended before Cody and Roman happened, right? Because that can't possibly have been.
No, so what was the co-main event? Then?
It was Cody. Yeah. I don't remember. I actually don't remember. But Cody versus Roman was the main event.
That is pretty awesome, guys. We just recited every single WrestleMania from WrestleMania 1 all the way through 39 here on this podcast, and we did it in less than 7 minutes. That is skill, my friends. That is
Do you want to try SummerSlam next?
Nerddom. Ooh, I know I could never do SummerSlam. I don't think I could. I
I
don't
don't
I
think I
don't
did either.
remember the first couple. My first WWF show was 1991. My first SummerSlam. So I know 92s.
Yeah. Um, the first show I remember watching is WrestleMania 8.
Okay.
I've seen others on like VHS and stuff, but that's the first one I remember watching live
Okay.
at my grandfather's because my uncle was recording it for my cousin, and my duty was to hit stop and then hit play when the entrances were over and they were in the ring.
Ah.
And I'm
Okay. All
pretty
right.
sure I messed it up.
Oh
I was 7. What do you want
no,
from me? Get
that's
off
all
my
right.
life.
You know what I used to do when I worked at Blockbuster? I used to play DVDs on my PlayStation 2, and then I used to press record on my VHS so I could keep some of these movies and have them for myself. I never sold them. I don't want to get accused of pirating. I kept them for
I
myself.
still play DVDs on my PlayStation 2 because I still have one.
Yeah, man. Ooh, send me that. I'll trade you. I'll send you a PlayStation 4
Okay, you win.
because I love Guitar Hero.
Okay,
And I can't.
I'm just trying to get a little Crash Bandicoot, a little Tiger Woods, and a little FIFA, and I'll be
Yeah.
happy.
They're not. There is no crap. There is no Tiger Woods for 4.
Is there PGA Tour?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Same thing.
I didn't realize you were that big a golf fan on with video games.
I love Tiger Woods. I had 99 for the PS1. Played it like it was my favorite game. And then I had I think 03 for the Xbox when I had the Xbox.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, Tiger's on the cover. It's $20 at GameStop right now. It's
Oh,
PGA
not bad.
Tour 2K23.
It's
And
not bad.
Tiger's on the cover on that one. So I can pick it up tomorrow, it says, for $20.
There you go.
Yeah. Rory is on the extra cover.
After last weekend, don't even say that name to me.
Wow. That's rude. Why?
Because like, how are you gonna be like the best player at this course and start in third place and fall backwards? Because last weekend
Well,
was the staggered strokes because it was the tour championship or whatever.
mm,
And he I think he ended up 4th or 5th, but like just did not do much for me.
okay.
Should have gone with Victor Hovland. This has been golf gambling corner with Tyler Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm addicted. I can't help it. I love it. It's my favorite thing.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I love golf too. I love playing it. So, I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, Tyler, do you have anything else that you want to extend your time on? Anything else you want to talk about in wrestling? Maybe some dislikes. Why don't we find out what some of? Let's go controversial. Let's get in this. What are
Okay,
some things that you dislike in wrestling right now? What are some things that are just pissing you off?
that's gonna be hard because like it's been a pretty positive. Uh, Give me a minute. I mean, I think Damian Priest is a terrible friend.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought we were going to talk about true stuff, not like storyline purposes, but
I
okay.
don't. He really was. He really was pissing me off on Monday night. What I did
On
see,
Monday, because he didn't help out JD?
and then he's like justifying it.
Yeah, he's not a part of Judgment Day. What the
Yeah, but
hell?
he
Like,
just helped him win the match. So you're just gonna leave him there to get destroyed?
I suppose you're right.
Just be a good friend, bro.
Yeah, I'm enjoying JD right now.
Yeah, I love Rhea's just exasperated. Like,
Yeah, she's tired. She's had
she's like, I'm
enough.
fucking done with all of you.
Yeah.
Me and Dom are the only ones with titles. You two just figure it out.
I love what I think is so exceptional about that whole program is the fact that Dom is not only playing his role perfectly, but whenever asked a question, he just like acts like that little kid who doesn't know how to answer. He's just like, well, whatever mommy says. Like, it's just like, are we supposed to believe that these two are in a relationship, or is she his mom? Because like, I feel like it's such a confusing dynamic, but it works.
Well, she's basically like the dominatrix of the. Like he does what she says.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's
It's
crazy.
like you ever watch the show Spin City?
Yes, of course. Michael J. Fox. I love it.
I was watching it Wednesday when I was off trying to nap. But anyway, the character Stewart dated this woman from The Office named Deirdre, and he would just do whatever she said, and he hated her. He did not want to be with her other than for recreational purposes.
hmm
Um, but he would do absolutely whatever she told him to.
hmm
It's kind of the vibe I get from them. Other than he doesn't hate her, he's infatuated with her.
Yeah. Yeah,
But like, yes, she definitely controls the situation.
yeah. So because we have both been critics of two separate parts of this conversation, I actually want to talk about and see if maybe we can bring some light to it. I've actually been very critical of Rhea Ripley's run, and you've been pretty critical about the usage of Raquel. So now that we're watching this couple of week thing play out where Raquel looks like this dominant person, where it looks like Rhea keeps talking all the shit like you're making a mistake, but then Raquel winds up on top. Like what do you think about this storyline so far?
It's been definitely helping. I wish they did to some extent acknowledge their past. I wish
Yes.
they would acknowledge it a little more.
Mhm.
Um, did she smile this week?
No.
The smiling thing just bothers
Not
me.
at all. Why, she's beautiful. What the hell?
I know. I just want to see some intensity.
Oh yeah, no, she was intense. She was cursing at her in Spanish and shit after she after she kicked her
And
ass. It was
I
pretty
love
good.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week. I love that they're letting people speak in their native languages, and
hmm
because like when you and I are having a conversation, you break into some Spanish, and I have no idea what you said, but
hmm
uh, it's how you talk.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's. I definitely think it's something really special. What I feel like has really helped this feud, and I know it's something so small and people probably aren't paying attention to. I love the spot that the both of us have that both of them have given us over the past couple weeks, which is the fake into the second clothesline. I feel like that spot is magical, Tyler, where Raquel throws a right clothesline, Rhea ducks it, only to stand up and get hit with the left. Like it is done so well. I I don't know if anybody can pull this off better. Like right, like I'm wondering if Raquel would benefit from maybe making a phone call down to Texas and being like, "Hey, I'm also a Texas girl, JBL. I'm gonna start using the clothesline from hell." Because let me ask you something: if Raquel started clotheslining women like a hard ass way, you don't think that's believable?
For sure, it is.
Her other finisher, I think, is kind of whack, like the one arm power bomb. It's just like, nah,
Eh, yeah, no, it's not the best.
yeah. But if she starts hitting that clothesline, like this is my move, like let me jump off the rope, let me hit this right, I feel like it would just be ruthless, man. It'd be like Masato Tanaka's roaring elbow.
For sure,
Yeah.
I do like it. Um, you know what they did on Raw this week? It's a totally different subject.
Oh, okay.
That I enjoyed because like I started watching it and I was taking notes because we thought we were going to do the recap, and then Slings decided it wasn't didn't want us to do a recap
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't going to stay on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, um, it was the Viking Raiders versus New Day match,
Yeah.
and they came back from the break and they're like, "We're trying to figure out when the last time someone was at the ring with antlers," and they decided it had been the Barbarian. And
Really?
I just like they so often they don't acknowledge the past, and I just thought it was cool that they like threw a little shout out to the Barbarian there.
Mhm.
I don't know, it just tickled my fancy.
So which Barbarian are we talking about? We're talking about Ming's tag team partner?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
there's only one that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. Just want to make sure we're not talking about Conan.
No, like Sione from the Head Shrinkers.
Hmm. Yeah, I really agree with that. It feels like they purposely try to avoid the past. I think a lot of the past is kind of checkered.
Well, there is a lot that is, but
Hmm.
there's some that you can definitely, you know. I don't think I've never heard anything about like that about the Barbarian or Ming Haku, whatever you want
Yes.
to call him. Other than, I mean, don't mess with him because he'll mess you up. But
Yeah.
he seems like the type of guy that would, gentle giant unless he's forced to be otherwise.
Hmm. Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I think it's a really great thing. It feels like Raw has kind of shifted its gears, or Raw and SmackDown, with the native language barrier
Mm-hmm.
being broken, as well as bringing up the past and allowing other finishers and other moves. I really feel like the product we're getting in professional wrestling right now is the best it's been in years. I can't remember, like, what this feels like to me is it feels like peak Attitude Era and peak WCW NWO era. Like, it feels like
Right.
right now there's really nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I think the WWE product is probably better than Peak Attitude Era. 'Cause if you really go back and watch it, it really wasn't that. The in ring product, especially, was not that good.
No, I definitely agree with you there. What I'm saying is, though, I feel like right now we're in a spot where, they're I feel like people are just angry at they're looking for reasons to be angry, or they're more angry with individual wrestlers instead of overall product. Like right now, the most hated man in pro wrestling is CM Punk.
You
You
think?
know, yes, no question. You're either a massive Punk fan, or you absolutely think
Story
he's a
checks out.
cancer and you hate him. It's one of those things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It definitely feels really, really special.
Right.
Uh
Um. Yeah, I think like they've it's been a few weeks since I found Raw to be like hard to watch.
yes.
Like it used to be a lot of the time. Like during football season, I very rarely even um will watch it live if there's anything at all worth watching on Monday night.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but this year, I don't know, that may change because like I think at least 3 weeks in a row they've had a uh, 4 burgers or better.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
get that. I get that. I
what I
definitely.
saw this week, unfortunately, like I said, we only saw a little bit of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought the product was really well put together this week. I I definitely felt like on the rewatch.
Oh, you got a chance to rewatch it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely felt like on the rewatch. Well, Dynamite's trash. It doesn't even let you go past that 60-minute mark. It just kind of stops. Just
Oh, really?
keeps. Yeah,
I think if you fast forward past that part, you'll
I
be able to watch the
tried. It
rest.
won't. It won't go past it. I tried to
Oh,
rewind, and then I tried to fast forward, and it keeps flashing the same exact image. Mike Bennett in front of Adam Cole, and it's like,
and then
oh,
it's like it's saying the same phrase over. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
it
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
But I was able to get past it. Sorry, you can't.
No, it's okay.
Um,
That's fine. I heard, not that I heard. I saw the promo that Orange Cassidy cut. I saw the spot.
yeah, there's that, and I believe there's that match, and I believe there's a women's match after that. Other than that, the show's it was all
So,
right.
speaking of women, what did you think about Tony Khan's response as to why there wasn't another women's match on the card?
What
Do
did
you
he
feel
have to
like
say?
do you, well? So he was asked at the scrum why in this day and age with all the talent that they have why there was a multi-woman match and the match was 7 minutes long on the card.
Right.
And he just said we just ran out of time. That's all he said. We ran out of time.
Right. Like, well,
And
like I just don't think like if you're expecting him to own it, he's not going to.
so you agree that it's a glaring issue in AEW is what you're saying.
Yeah, this is not the first time.
Mhm.
Full Gear, which was a really solid show from
Mhm.
last November, that also had one multi-women match. No, I believe it had two. But I think Jade wrestled as well. But
Mhm.
still, it was like a total of like maybe 17 minutes on a 4-hour show.
Yeah, actually, they talk about that on the 83 Weeks podcast where the guy who's hosting
Yeah.
he seemed annoyed at the fact that like they have a mid-card women's title and they don't have it on the show, and they have like it seemed what I gathered is it seems like everybody's angry that the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion was not on the card. Apparently, what she's doing in Ring of Honor right now is
It's
spectacular, and
unreal, yes.
yes, and she deserves it. And she doesn't have a match on All Out. She doesn't have a match on All In, and it is just like what is going on?
This is
Like
after her and Willow main evented Death Before Dishonor.
agreed. Like they went from having like Sky Blue on every single week to just being absent. And you know, we just talked about last week how Willow is definitely the future of that company, but as it was pointed out by a really big streamer, Pablo, she said that if you honestly think that Mercedes is going to watch what's happening and she's going to sign with your company, you're wrong. Like she's there. Yeah, she got some money for being there. Absolutely. But she's not going to come into this, especially with the way she left WWE. She's going to want the women to be utilized correctly.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and I just think like there's a lot of talent there. The
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate thing is there's just so I can see the week to week shows like you can use that and say, oh, we ran out of time because there is so much talent there in that company.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no excuse for a show like this not to. There's no reason that Statlander and well, she's wrestling Ruby at All Out. But she couldn't have wrestled like a. They couldn't have given her 6 or 7 minutes.
I don't understand. Like, do they not like? So, my question is, do they not believe that the women in AEW can go 20 minutes? Because I don't understand how that 4-way was so short. If we just came out of the short, if we came out of the 4-way, you and I agreeing that Britt, she didn't look out of place. She looked like the star of the match, and Saraya didn't have to super bump her ass off because it's a 4-way. So you're still protecting your investment right now that you have in Saraya. Tony Storm is doing peak wrestling storytelling right now, and then you have Sheeta, who her work just like speaks for itself. Those 4 women could have went 22 minutes.
Right, and he, I mean, he says it's. I think what he said was pacing, right?
Pacing, but then you start the show off with a technically sound match instead of starting it off with like a barn burner, like the Bullet Club Gold versus the Golden
We started out
Lovers,
with Punk,
Golden
Punk
Elite.
versus Joe.
Yeah, which was a technical, like it was just a wrestling match. It was a wrestling match. It wasn't any fluff, anything special. It was just a wrestling match. So like that's what like you mentioned that you thought that match was kind of polarizing. People either loved it or they were like it's fine, and that was the big thing. It was like they just didn't like the placement of it. I thought it started off the show good because it was like, yeah, this is a wrestling show, a wrestling company, and this is what I got.
Yeah,
So I was excited. But it like even Bischoff talks about it like he didn't like that match opened. He loved the match. He didn't like that it opened.
to me
Like
it
he
was a
would have,
WWE move
yeah,
where they put one title on first and one on last.
yeah, agreed.
Um, but
Well, I mean, one title on first, and then the fake title was on last because the real world title was on first, and the fake title was on last. We've made that clear. That's the real world championship.
okay, Phil.
I mean, I would never, not even in witness protection, would I change my name to Phil.
Really?
No, Well,
I have so many Phils that I love. Phil Ivey, Phil Hellmuth, Phil Kessel, Phil Brooks.
no, I don't. I think you just kind of take the name they give you, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
just
I'm
think I
never.
just thought that was an appropriate comment to make. Like, I'm not really like, like, I feel like you can make any kind of comment about anything. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Ninja Turtle cartoon where they make fun of Leonardo's name, and they're like, "Well, what's your guys' last name?" And then they're just like, "Your name's Nardo," like Leonardo.
You know, Nardo.
So weird. But yeah. Anyway.
Oh
Uh,
man, I was. Since we're in the weeds, I gotta tell you, I was freaking my boss out today because he's never seen Ted Lasso,
oh.
and it was one of those days where you like kind of chase your tail around all day,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill,
Okay.
and then I was like, I just started going, I've lost me wings. Where the fuck are me wings, Roy? And he's just looking at me like, what? Why do I employ you?
That's funny. I
Yeah, it
love that.
was great. It was great.
I do that. I do that to people all the time. Like, sometimes when somebody opens the door for me, I'm always just like, "Hi, Captain Stubing. Permission to come aboard. Howard, Gopher, and Doc." And no one knows what I mean. Like, it is because it's from my favorite movie ever, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And I
I
just,
was gonna say I also don't know what you mean, but
yeah,
yeah,
like, see, that's what I mean.
I
I say that to everybody. Or I'll pull into a parking space, and then in my head, I just flipped like 10 flips into the parking space, and then I just go, like a glove. Because I just love
is
that
that
movie.
also
It's
from Ace Ventura?
from part two. From part two.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I have not seen the original since I was 10 years old, and the second one I saw on a cruise ship when I was 11. But the
Yeah.
other movie that was playing was The American President, so I watched that many more times.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie, by the way.
That is a
Awesome movie.
fantastic movie.
Since we jumped into film, what we need to do is we need to review some of these wrestling movies and TV shows. I think that's something we should do on our show. We should review The Wrestler. We should review Ready to Rumble, and we should absolutely review Heels.
Listen, buddy, I'm just waiting for midnight for the new episode to drop.
Oh, is that today? I started episode 1 on season 2 like right before you jumped on here because I was like, oh, I don't know how long it's gonna take them. So I just started it and I was like, oh, I was right at the promo where the guy thinks it's appropriate to make fun of a girl being champion, where he cuts a promo on the cell phone and he's like, the new champion of the is the valet, and I was like, mother, it made me want to punch the TV. I was like, come on. I
Oh
love it.
yeah,
I love the raw emotion that Heels has been able to drive out of you because I never really feel this way watching a television show, but because wrestling is so involved with emotions and storytelling, I feel like it does the same thing on the show.
man, I did not want last week's show, especially. I did not want it to end.
Oh, were you that? So it's doing that good. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I would keep looking at I'd keep looking at the thing and be like, oh, 19 minutes left. Oh, 12 minutes left. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I watched it Sunday and I was like, I gotta wait till Friday, and I figured I didn't even I didn't even think about that I'm gonna be spending have all this time just stationary. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I won't even be able to watch it because I'm traveling Friday. But no, I'm definitely when we finish this podcast, probably gonna jump on there and
Rewatch last
jump on
week's.
the old Stars app.
Yeah.
No, but no, bro, the new episode's out in 22 minutes.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's 11:30,
Oh,
11:38. I mean,
there you go.
I'm good to go all night personally.
So what's the time difference in Canada? What time is it over there now?
So where I'm going, it is Atlantic time, which is an hour later.
Later, okay. Where exactly are you going?
I am
Brompton, New
going
Brunswick.
to stay in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada for a little while, and I'll also be
Oh,
in Havelock, New Brunswick, Canada, and Bucktouche, New Brunswick, Canada, which is right next to Moncton.
wow.
Havelock is in the middle of absolute nowhere.
That's awesome.
It's it's better than where my grandparents used to live, which is called Pleasantville. Which, if you saw 3 cars, it was a traffic jam. But
So, are you going to hug a moose while you're there?
you know, Moose, they don't really like you to get too close to them.
So you never pet
Contrary,
one?
I've never pet a moose.
I've seen a lot of videos where people hide. They see like mooses and then they run. What's the plural? What's the plural for moose?
Moose.
You just say moose?
Yeah.
Even if you're multiple, it's
Yeah.
moose.
I
Wow.
believe so.
Wow. English grammar. Okay, so like yeah, I've seen people like run away from them, hide in tool sheds and stuff, and I'm thinking like, are they really that mean?
I mean, I think during mating season they're pretty aggressive. I don't know
What,
that for
what,
sure. I've never encountered one.
mm,
Um, the closest story I have to a moose is we lived in this subdivision, um, sort of like, well, they were all single family houses, but like it would be set up sort of like Pineford,
oh, okay.
um, in that there's just all these streets and the houses are right next to each other and everything. But
Yeah.
we're right next to like a major town, and my dad was an insomniac like I am. And he would get up in the middle of the night and he'd sit in the living room and watch TV, drink a couple cups of tea and watch and smoke a couple cigarettes. And one night he was doing that and he looked out the window and there's a moose just walking down the middle of the street,
Wow.
just chilling.
Well,
I've I've only seen one, I think, one or two. I think the most moose I've seen actually was either on the way or coming back from the Grand Canyon.
wow, okay. I don't think
It
I've
was
ever seen one in person or like like at like I haven't seen one at a zoo or anything. I don't know if that's like a normal thing.
I don't think so. I don't think Bullwinkle is very popular at the zoo.
No, I would suppose not. You know what I just realized today? This will probably be one of the last things before we wrap it up, since we obviously are just rambling on now. um, one of the things that I realized today was that, do you know that there is an area of the United States of America that has as many tigers as like across across the sea?
I did not know that. No.
Apparently Texas has like an oversaturation of tigers. And I'm thinking like, I'm never going to Texas. What, that alone, I didn't want to go there just based on the fact that I've heard it's really hot and there's rattlesnakes and the cowboys. And then finding out that there's just tigers that might be just roaming around. No, thank you. Like what? What? No, thank you.
I'll I'll uh, I'll send a message and get back to you on that one.
Oh, do you know somebody in Texas?
I know a couple people in Houston area.
Oh my God, Tyler, world traveler. He's going to Canada. He's going to. He lives in the Gatorville.
Yeah,
He's from Pennsylvania here, and then he knows people in the Lone Star State. Wow, I didn't even.
you, you
I don't
forgot
want to get
about
sued.
Virginia and Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did live in Michigan. Holy
Yeah,
crap! Did
the
you?
less said, the better.
Is that where you became a Wolverines fan, or were you a Wolverine fan before then?
No, I became a Wolverines fan because she got me. Well, it says number 7 on it, so we'll call it a Chattanooga jersey. And
Wow.
I didn't particularly have a team because I was a fan of Virginia Tech when Michael Vick was there before we knew all the things we knew about him.
Mhm.
Because he was a freshman when I moved to the states. So after he left, it was kind of like, and then I liked them again when Tyrod was there. Um,
Mm.
but I didn't really have a team, so like she bought me the jersey and shorts with a big M on them, and I was like, all right, cool, good enough.
Mhm.
I'm not a massive college football fan. I spend most of my life working Saturdays, so I don't. The last couple of years, I've gotten into it a little more.
Well, I'm definitely a fan. Like, I definitely appreciate Notre Dame, and I have family out in Nebraska, so I guess you would say
Why?
that.
Why did Notre Dame get one of the best quarterbacks in college football to run the ball up the middle all friggin' day?
What do you?
Can you answer that to me?
You're not happy with them scoring 42 points?
I'm not happy with Sam Hartman not doing anything. Like you're wasting him.
What do you mean? What if Navy's giving you that, you have to use it?
So let him transfer somewhere else. Like he transferred to Notre Dame, I assume to improve his draft stock, and he didn't do that on Saturday by handing the ball to whoever that guy was, Esteem or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh,
College
you know
football, man.
what? This is a great question that was asked in our chat. Why don't we answer it? Here we go.
What is
Let's
wrong with
talk.
you people, and why are you talking about everything but wrestling?
No, no, no. I think they kind of understand the whole process of it, since this is called Airport Chronicles, and we're trying to get you through your flight at 7:30 in the morning. But the question was, do you guys think somebody should call Hulk Hogan on his bullshit? What do you guys think about Hulk Hogan saying on Joe Rogan that he discovered Brock Lesnar? This is a great, great question. What do we think about this? Because this is interesting to me. Did you
The
hear him talk about
fuck?
saying that he was the first guy who worked Lesnar?
No, I didn't hear that. That's
So he's on the Joe Rogan podcast, and the dude is just like lie after lie. And obviously, Joe doesn't know a lot about wrestling. You know, he's not a
sure.
massive fan. And Hogan just drops a little bomb out of nowhere and just says, "Hey, I was the first guy to work Lesnar." And then he goes on this little thing where he tells Lesnar, like, you know, ease up on me, like, but I forgot what he had a nickname for him and everything. Broccoli. Call ease up on me, Broccoli. And I'm thinking, like,
Wow.
I thought they worked each other when he was the next big thing, and he didn't tap him out, but he passed him out to the bear hug.
I
I
believe
thought that
that's.
was yeah,
I
because
believe that's correct.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what is it with Hogan still lying in 2023?
Like we don't all have Peacock and can just go. You know.
But it's not so much that. Wouldn't you say that Hogan's one of the most like prolific wrestlers in the history of the business?
I
There's
thought
not
you were
very
gonna
many
say. I
people.
thought you were gonna say prolific liars, and yep.
Okay, well, yeah, let's just go on from what I said. So he's one of the most prolific wrestlers in the history of the business. You would think that, at least for the most part, people would know that Hulk Hogan like is a part of the business. So why on earth would he lie on such a major podcast like the Joe Rogan Experience? That's so crazy to me.
You know, I wonder if he believes it himself. Like if his, he's older and maybe losing. You know, things maybe running together, and I wonder if he believes it himself. Like sometimes you believe your own lies. You know what I mean?
Someone in the chat just agreed with you. Totally agree. He's a prolific liar. Absolutely, I love it. Yep, from the Dungeon Podcast. Awesome. Thank you so much for the interaction. To
Absolutely.
me, I think it's one of those things. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just drawing. Like, I'm reading too much into it, but it feels a lot like what Road Dogg does. Every couple of months, Road Dogg drops these little nuggets about how he feels about pro wrestling, how he feels about all these different things, and it's just like it just winds up getting everybody talking
Yeah.
one after another. We just wind up having conversations about Road Dogg.
The only thing Road Dogg's ever said that's true is that he's a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart.
That is not true. From the Dungeon Podcast also said Hogan did say that at the end, him and Macho Man Randy Savage were best friends.
From what I understood, they may have patched things up, but I don't
Really?
think they were. I don't think they were best friends.
No, no way. I don't. There's no way Macho Man Randy Savage just decides to flip a script and write a rap song about you, my guy.
Yeah, but
I do.
that was 12 years before he died. Like it's possible that they figured it out, and they were both old men by that point. Like maybe they were
I
just like, let's just be cool. But that's what that's
oh.
in Macho's biography. That's what they say.
Oh my god. Okay, if you say so. This guy from the Dodger podcast actually says
I
Road
see
Dogg
it.
is a better performer than the Hitman. That's not what we were saying. But I don't agree with that. Not even close. I
Yeah,
think Road Dogg might
that's
be the worst.
it's
Road Dogg is the
100%
worst.
accurate.
No, he's the worst member of DX that in DX had Tori Wilson or Tori in it.
I'm doing a little rewatch, and it's And Tori was still with Kane, but like she had to spend the holidays with X Pac.
Yeah.
And then she's like, he was a total gentleman, but like at the same time, she's like freaking out every time a man like talks to her or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really, really troubling television. Like
Do you
Tess,
believe?
Tess comes up to her and she's like,
Mhm.
"Hey, how was the holiday or whatever?" And she like freaks out and sticks Kane on him.
Yeah. That's a great name, by the way, Test. I love the fact that you just brought that up. Brought up Test. He's a really solid performer. That's kind of what I think of when I think of Big Cass.
Yeah.
From the dungeon says here, Hitman was a one-trick pony. What's your thought to that?
What trick was that? Being a great technical wrestler?
Oh, I don't know. That's a
I
great
mean,
question. Did you
I
hear
mean
that from the
that's
dungeon?
I mean that's what he was. I mean, yeah, okay. If you want to say that's all he could do, but I don't know that I agree with that because he's got the great brawl with Stone Cold. Couple of them.
I
Uh,
100% agree with this comment. Bret the Hitman Hart was the worst pickup by WCW they ever did. That is a great. If you're basing picking up a legend like Bret Hart solely on filling Thunder
hmm
instead of bringing him in off one of the hottest angles in pro wrestling, 100% agree with you from the dungeon. Quite possibly could be the worst pickup in WCW history. Agree with you.
it's sort of like if LeBron James was a free agent and somebody was like, yeah, sure, we need a backup point guard.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I agree with you there. It's interesting. It's like he goes to the Knicks, and then they're just kind of like they're a team that maybe was great at one point, but they're never going to be like the Knicks of like the 70s and 80s. So it's just a waste. You're going there for name value only. Brett went to WCW for the money, and we've heard on
Absolutely.
multiple occasions as we know from his book and we know from podcasting that he went there with no ideas. He had no idea how to transition
He
his
didn't
character
care.
into WCW. Yeah, he was heartbroken. We're gonna touch on this, guys. We're gonna keep you waiting before we talk about Bret Hart. We're gonna do a Montreal Screwjob episode, and me and Tyler will go into it. But he
Until
definitely
then,
was
I'm just gonna
heartbroken.
drop little shots at him.
Will Tony? Will Tony can't? I love that. Will Tony can't get rid of CM Punk or Jack Perry? I don't think Jack Perry goes anywhere.
No, I don't
I
think he
think
does
if
either. And I've heard that Punk maybe wants to go. So if he wants
yeah,
to go, let him go.
it sounded a lot like CM Punk. Like it sounded a lot like he quit. He like verbally
I
said I
I,
quit.
I heard that. If that's the case, let him go. Because
Absolutely.
it's just gonna keep happening for one thing.
The
For another
problem
thing,
is the problem is that if he quits, right? And I think this is a major deal. If he quits, he gets his 90-day no compete. He's gonna show up on WWE television.
maybe
There's
so, but
no
he can't pull this shit there. It
he
will
can't.
never fly. It will never fly.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is he's going to go to WWE. He's maybe Punk is one of these guys that needs to be reined in. We've talked about this. We've talked about this with Kenny Omega. He was a different superstar in Japan and then he comes to AEW and he's like I'm going to do everything, give you everything every single match and I'm not the same, I'm not the cleaner. Maybe CM Punk needs like the strict rules of WWE and he goes over there and they're like, "Hey, we're going to let you talk. We know that while we brought you here, we brought you here for your promo, for your name, and for like for merchandise sales. So we're gonna use you. But if I'm CM Punk, I make it absolutely one of my conditions is I have to main event WrestleMania. That has to be like one of his conditions that are met, or else this will
Yeah,
never work.
and then the other thing is, if he's gonna do that, he needs to do it soon because he is still great, but he is not the in-ring performer that he was in 2011. He's a little slower.
I'm gonna say his match with Joe, unless that's the style that he's trying to give us, and he's just turned into Randy Orton. because this is the style Randy Orton kind of runs.
Mhm.
I disagree with you. I don't think that CM Punk has moved. I don't think he's as crisp, but he never really was. We've talked about this before. He's kind of a sloppy performer to begin with.
But the pace is is a lot slower.
I suppose you're right, but a guy like Joe that's kind of been plagued with injuries over the past couple of years, he probably has to work a little bit smarter. We've heard Brian
And
Danielson
that
talk.
could be true. That could be true too.
Yeah, we've heard Brian Danielson talk about this in the past, that when he was trying to come back from injury, he reworked, and you could see it in the beginning part in the first 10 minutes of his match with Brock Lesnar. That was his dream match. And he said, I had figured out this way to work on the ground. So that way, like, I was kind of like crawling towards him, a la like John Jones, when he, like, you can't hit me as long as my hand's on the ground. Like, that's kind of what he was going to do. So if CM Punk has figured out, if him and Joe figured out, like, hey, let's go out here, let's be more methodical. This is the type of match that we're going to provide you. Whatever it did, it worked. It was the match of the night. I mean, you can say what you want. Eric Bischoff, who's got all these, like, he's super smart, and we love watching your stuff and hearing you, but you're wrong, guy. This match was perfect. It was great.
But plenty of people don't think it was the match of the night. I don't necessarily think it was the match of the night. I think it was as good as anything else that happened, but there were a couple that were at least equal.
Plenty of people think that LA Knight is the best performer in wrestling today, and he's not even the best promo on the show he's on. So, I mean, like, people have weird opinions. I mean,
it's entirely subjective.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, we say it all the time on our podcast. It is a Tyler quote. Wrestling's a circus. We all come for different things.
Right. And I think so. I got that from Seth Rollins.
Okay. Well, that's a genius in the sport as well.
He was talking about because Vader had poo-pooed the Will Ricochet match.
Okay.
And Seth was like, look, some people come for the acrobats, some people come for the man being shot out of the cannon, some people come for the lions and tigers, you know?
Yeah, you can't oversaturate with the same exact stuff. Now, you can have Chris Benoit versus Dean Malenko every single match. You need to have Steve Mongo McMichael versus Goldberg. You need to have Canyon versus Diamond Dallas Page. You need to have Vicky versus Victoria. Like, you need to have, like, all these, like, Nikki versus Victoria. You need to have, like, all of these different versions of wrestling.
I don't know if you need that last one.
We're not going to talk. We're not going to.
Let's pick a couple of better women. Well, one better woman. Victoria's fine.
You think Nikki Cross is a bad performer?
I apologize. I thought you meant Nikki Bella.
I would never. On that, why don't we get to this comment here by From the Dungeon. Tony Khan said All In is bigger and more must-see than WrestleMania.
No. Maybe more people.
Well, being that you're the resident AEW fan, I'm shocked to hear this from you. I thought you would have agreed.
No, WrestleMania is WrestleMania.
Yeah, the best comment I heard is when you watch WrestleMania, you think of WrestleMania. WrestleMania feels like WrestleMania. When I watch All In, I enjoyed the show, but even this show with this amount of people didn't feel as special as the first All In.
I mean, I made plans to watch it, but like I didn't plan my whole weekend around All In. Like WrestleMania was like, all right, we're doing the podcast at this time, so I can drive at this time, so I can be there for this time.
Yes.
Like it's WrestleMania is a whole. You plan your whole weekend around it, and next year especially.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't get that feel. There wasn't a single match on the card, Punk and Joe included, where I thought to myself, this match can take the spot of any match on night one of WrestleMania this year. Not even the main event. Like, the main event was fine. It was like the third or fourth best match on the card.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like,
night one was just about perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, WWE's on another level right now with their booking and WrestleMania and stuff like that. But
night two was not quite as satisfying.
I think you're still upset that Roman won.
No, even before that, it was like there was a lot more stuff that wasn't.
Agreed. I think a lot should be said about the fact that back-to-back years, because nobody's really main evented WrestleMania back-to-back, and Kevin Owens did that back-to-back years, and literally nobody talks about that. It's so crazy to me that nobody wants to talk about the fact that Kevin Owens main evented WrestleMania back-to-back years, and it's not even talked about. But let's move on to the next question here, because I did see this a lot. There's a lot of online chatter that towards the end of All In that people were leaving the upper levels. I did see that a lot. There was people talking about it on Twitter, people that were there at the show. And I thought to myself, oh, it's a long show. Maybe they kind of knew what the booking finish was going to be and stuff like that. So what did you think of that? The fact that people left the show before the main event. What was your thought?
Seems just a second. My Wi-Fi is cutting out.
Okay. Well, I'll give you some thoughts until just start talking when your Wi-Fi gets better. Honestly, to me, I thought that by the end of the show, I thought they made a really the structure of the card, in my opinion, was not not conducive to what we were watching. I really thought to myself that the card itself, had it not been laid out the way it was, I feel like it would have been a better card, but to me, like there was so many ups and downs. We started off hot with CM Punk and Joe, and then immediately after the Punk and Joe match, the news leaked about him and Jack Perry. It was like, what? Like this is my problem. Like there's this comment that this really brilliant NBA guy, he likes to talk NFL every now and then. He talks about the Dallas Cowboys, and he says there's always a problem. There's always a story no matter what. Like Jerry Jones just has to do it to you. He cannot just be satisfied with what he has. How that news leaked right away after that match, I really thought it took away from some of the bang of the card as well. Um, I also really didn't like the placement. I thought the women's main event. I thought the women's match should have been co-main event. If you weren't going to do the tag match that I felt like was advertised as the co-main event with the Young Bucks and FTR, I don't understand. I like I said, I've said on here plenty of times. I think the opening match was definitely the right call. But what did you think? Did you think that people left because the structure of the card just kind of left them baffled, and they were kind of like checked out?
It could be. I didn't actually notice it, but I'm not one to look for stuff like that. And I don't. I didn't. I guess I haven't read a whole lot online other than I wanted to read reviews.
No, I
Um,
didn't. The structure of the card was based on. That's just my opinion.
no, I mean the people leaving.
Oh
Um,
yeah, okay, yeah.
that could be. There was just so much. I just think there was a lot on this card that was pretty similar,
Hmm.
and I think
Yeah,
maybe people were just tired by the end.
agreed. There wasn't enough one-on-one matchups.
That's Eric said the same thing, and I totally agree.
Yeah,
Um,
like there wasn't enough story to get you like. Yeah, I agree. I don't understand. I that's why I'm hoping Tony Khan is smart. I'm hoping he's smart and he's like, hey, I'm gonna take Jack Perry and I'm gonna take CM Punk and I'm gonna make this an angle for people to see. Like, this is the best way to get this like negative taste like out of your company. Like start like because immediately tell me, Tyler, smart Mark fans, tell me they're not going to believe that this was all a work. If Jack Perry and CM Punk start a program on live television, tell me they're not going to immediately be like, it was all a work. That's why they leaked the news about the footage and Miro and Samoa Joe. It was all a work. That's not real. They start working each other
uh,
on television.
the only thing is that um, Jack is friends with the Bucks. Um,
Ugh, these guys, they're
it's
so unprofessional.
people know it. Because a comment was made. He said something about being on pay per views and stuff when other people weren't. That people that wanted to criticize him or something weren't on them or something. And
Okay.
somebody made a comment like, "Oh, maybe if I forget who it was, but maybe if I change with the Bucks too, and blah blah blah." Yeah.
I don't really follow what you're saying. I didn't hear the comment. Who made the comment?
I don't remember who it was, but
Okay, I'm sorry.
it was after Full Gear, after
After
because
the scrum.
the first time he was really Jack Perry when he wrestled Luchasaurus in the cage.
Okay, all right.
They decided he was Jack Perry instead of Jungle Boy,
Mm-hmm. With the
and he talked
Beethoven
about,
music and everything.
and people were talking. Well, he was still a babyface at this time.
Okay, okay.
He wrestled Luchasaurus at the cage. This would be the pay per view in like November.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and somebody had said, and he said, like, people talked about him. You know, he's on every pay per view and everything, and people are talking about him like he's not uh, progressing or not a star or whatever. And but he's like, but I'm on every pay per view and I'm on every Dynamite and blah blah blah. And whoever it was responded to say, well, yeah, if I party with the boss and change with the Bucks, and so.
See, I feel like that's just Marks being Marks. Listen, it's just
But it
the
was a
guy.
wrestler that said it. I don't remember who it was, but it was a wrestler that said
Oh,
it.
well, it's possibly somebody who's just really bitter that they can't get themselves on TV. Like, I'm sorry, but
I
when
think I know who it was, but I don't want to say his name just in case it wasn't.
okay, well, we can apologize to him next week. Just say it, because
Let's just say he's a perfect 10
oh, get the fuck out of here.
and
Listen here. The best part
leave
about
it at
that guy
that.
is his wife. I don't understand why he would even say something like that. That's craziness. Uh, listen here. When the best thing about you, when you pretty much started the hardcore mess with your chair shots, you need to calm down. Jack Perry, whether people want to admit it or not, it doesn't matter. He's must see TV right now. He's a heel. People hate him. Like, look, this comment here, the comment in says here from the dungeon, Eric Bischoff called All In Indie-rific, and we'll get to that in a moment. But Eric Bischoff was one of the people that says it. Heat is money. He is controversy. Controversy is money. That's what Jack Perry is right now. He's catching the loudest boos in AEW. Why not? He's one of the hottest acts in AEW. Whether anybody wants, who cares if he's a green wrestler? He's on TV. He's doing his job. People hate him right now. You guys think he's green, but he's not Hook. He could be that
I
green.
don't think he's that green, really.
Who? Perry?
Yeah.
That seems to be the like the consensus about him is that he's just not like a fully polished superstar. But who is at that age? Like, it's just he's a really solid talent. I'm not going to go out of my way and completely talk about him as like the next great star or whatever. Like, but I think he's placed perfectly in the card. He's kind of like middle of the television show, comes out, cuts this promo, gets the crowd going, gets some heat going, excites the crowd, and then we move on to the next segment. He's placed exactly where he is, and because he's willing to do Sammy Guevara type stuff, you know, I think it works for him to get him on pay per view. I don't know necessarily if he's full money, but he's good enough.
Would you say he's Triple H in late '96, early '97?
No, I feel like Triple H as
Before he won King of the Ring.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say Triple H as Terra Ryzen is better than Jack Perry will ever be.
wow.
Dude, come on. You just said one of the legends of the sport. Can you give me somebody a little bit different? I can't stop. Like, Triple H is one of the legends of the sport.
But
Like, he's a mount.
I'm not even talking work rate. I'm talking about, like, he was still finding himself, but like it was a heel that was getting over as a
As
heel
a
that everyone
lord.
hated.
hmm Okay, if
Um,
you're talking about Hunter Hearst Helmsley, like the Mister, I'm gonna curtsy and stuff like that. Okay, fine, I'll give you
so
that.
what I'm talking
He
about
might be that good.
is the from the time Mr. Perfect hit Mark Merrow with that chair and he
hmm
won the Intercontinental title
Mark Marrow. We're gonna
to
touch on Mark Marrow one day. I'm a fan. We're gonna talk about him one day. Go
I
ahead. Go
am
ahead.
too. I am
Mhm.
too. To then he has a feud with Goldust.
hmm
That era Triple H,
hmm
like he's really finding himself as a heel. The crowd hates him, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's channel changing heat," but like, no, it wasn't.
Okay, so I want to agree with you, and I'll say that in terms of what you just described, that's perfect. The problem is that on a weekly basis, Triple H got better uh in
Yeah,
the
you're
ring,
right.
on the mic. Like, he just continued to get better, and even getting squashed by the Ultimate Warrior.
This is would be after that.
Okay. Yeah, well then, I mean, I honestly believe that, yeah, Triple H is just, he's on another level to me. I feel like he's one of the most underappreciated stars ever, and it's going to take a lot for Jack Perry to get there.
Yeah,
But
I'm talking. What I'm talking about is like October to March, October '96 to like March of '97.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. So on to the Indie-rific comment. You originally said to me that you thought that he was very like happy, or he was very chill, like he had nice things to say about
No,
AEW, but
I
then
said he
I
said some good stuff. Like he complimented Kenny.
of course he did. It's fucking Kenny Omega. Who
He backed off his stance on the tag ROH tag match being on the pre-show.
mm,
I think he said some decent stuff about Hook and no, he didn't see the pre-show.
no, he didn't.
He didn't see the pre-show.
No.
That's right, because his DVR screwed up or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's right. It was a really, really big indie show, and dude, that works. It works. As I said, all in the original, all in the one with like Stephen Amell and the Bullet Club and all that stuff. The debut of Chris Jericho, all of that was just it was the next to perfect show. It was exactly what we needed. I don't think this all in was close to that, but I definitely enjoyed the show more than most. I just obviously I thought CM Punk and Samoa Joe was the best match. I thought the Coffin match was the second best match, and then I would say that the I personally enjoyed the Golden what is it, the Golden Elite versus
Mhm.
Bullet Club Gold. My only issue is that Jay White and Hangman Adam Page they were barely in the match. That's just kind of my only issue. But I know this is a big deal for you, so I wanted to make sure to have this on the screen here. So Perry is good. He just doesn't respect the opinion of OG wrestlers. Are we going to get a classic Tyler rant on respecting OG wrestlers?
Why?
Well, because I know you don't really like it. Like you feel like the OGs should just
Well, the
stay.
OGs, like the guys that are not in the business anymore, should just yeah, go get a hobby.
Yeah, but their hobby is professional wrestling. They've loved it their whole lives. You just want them to retire and walk away? Not everybody's Edge that could
I
just
want
go
them
film
to.
Disney shows.
Okay, so then be a positive influence. Don't be Bret Hart.
Listen, you gotta respect what they're saying. The only person that doesn't have a leg to stand on is Road Dogg. Everybody else is absolutely a pro's pro. I
Don't
mean,
be
we're not
Booker
talking.
T.
Whoa, you watch your mouth when I'm talking to you. We will not disparage Booker T on here. Tell me you didn't just say that, sucker. Tell me.
Yeah, well, like when you're disparaging people's body types, then like yeah, you're
Dude,
body
it
shaming. You're
matter.
body shaming people.
Okay, if Adam Cole didn't feel that way, then why did he fix his body? Why
What
did
did
he
he
get
say?
more
What's
cup?
what's
Why
different
did
about
he?
his body?
Why did he add some muscle mass? Why does his body look different? If it didn't matter to him, if he didn't care about his presentation, why does he have abs again? Why does he
Um,
not have like the skinny fat Nate Diaz body
Probably
anymore?
because he was out of work for months and months, and only thing he had to do was go to the gym. Like
Okay, but maybe you didn't like, maybe you didn't like the way Booker T handled it, but he's an old school cat. But he compliments these wrestlers. He compliments these shows. It's not like he doesn't like bang on them the way Eric Bischoff does. Like Bischoff is really harsh critic when he talks about AEW. Like Booker T's he's like a pillar of the sport, man. He's
and
trained.
he goes ahead and admits his issue is his bias uh, on the podcast this week too. He
On
said
Booker
straight
T's?
no Bischoff.
Oh yeah.
He said straight up like yeah, this is why this is what started this, and like I want them to succeed, but also it pissed me off.
I was gonna put another comment on the screen because it says Terra Ryzen is better than Perry because he respects the opinion of old wrestlers, but this next comment I felt like was really important. How much more positive can you be than saying don't use real glass? I just think that's brilliant. I don't understand. You're in a sports entertainment business and you want to protect yourselves, and this kid that just thinks he knows more than the older guy and he's just not. I don't know. I think he.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
he thinks he knows more than him. He's just like fucking leave me alone.
But like,
Mind your own business.
I suppose you're right.
If I wanted your opinion, I'd ask for it.
I guess the only issue that I've ever had with Punk in AEW is what he said about Adam Page, and I guess that could be my bias because I personally like Adam Page, but
Which
I've said
side?
this. Well, just about him, not like, how he wouldn't take the advice of a veteran. I thought to myself, like, the Young Bucks are veterans. Kenny Omega's a veteran. Cody Rhodes is a veteran. Diamond Dallas Page is a veteran. Goldust is a veteran. Like, he was taking advice from plenty of these people. Him saying what he said was directly geared towards CM Punk. Like, I'm not going to do business the way you did business. Instead of him just saying that, he skirted around, and CM Punk didn't like it, and he called him out.
What he didn't like was the workers' rights comment or whatever.
But he's right. Like, he didn't say anything negative. He said the truth. And Punk has always skirted the truth. He's the Deadpool of professional wrestling.
Elaborate.
Deadpool, he speaks in the fourth wall. He says things that we all want to say. Like, he says, like, he'll make comments, like, he'll make fun of himself. He'll make fun of what he's watching. He'll make fun of, like when he's on his own movie, he's like, oh, we didn't, like, Fox Studios couldn't dole out enough money to get anybody but, like, this guy and this, like, little like, girl with her shaved head. Like, he makes fun of himself, and as well as making fun of everything else. He's very, very self-aware.
What does that have to do with workers' rights?
But because CM Punk, he's just one of those guys who he wants to be that guy, but he doesn't want people calling him out for stuff. He went into AEW thinking he was going to be the top guy, and he was going to be the guy. He was going to be like the next locker room leader. And what he turned out to be was he turned out to be Cena with the golden shovel. Like, it just, you can't be on my show.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. I've already talked about it. I don't like the idea of taking food out of people's mouths.
Agreed. I like this here. I like this. Booker T comes from a tough love people, and people got to learn to take criticism. That is very true. I feel like none of the wrestlers nowadays, they want to hear anything, whether it's a comment from somebody on the internet, whether it's a writer, whether it's somebody from ESPN, whether it's somebody from a credible company. But it seems like they just get extremely offended at anybody who critiques anything they do.
Yeah, I think that's true because it's just, I just don't see a need for it. Like,
you don't see a need for constructive criticism.
Not on a podcast.
Well, these guys don't have a way to contact each other. Like, it's not like, hey, let me, like, you want Booker T to be like, hey, give me Adam Cole's number so I can.
You don't think Booker T has Adam Cole's number?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Adam Cole. I just know that I like his in-ring work, but that's all I know about Adam Cole.
I bet he does. They were in WWE at the same time.
I suppose.
But bro, this is the same guy who, like, literally derailed a couple guys' careers because they didn't shake his hand properly.
What guys? Where did you hear this shit?
You don't know this story?
No, tell me this story, because Booker T seems like a wonderful human being to me.
The Young Bucks showed up for a tryout.
Okay.
They showed up for a tryout.
Mm-hmm.
Booker T was mad that they didn't shake hands properly.
Okay.
And he talked shit about them everywhere he could to make sure they didn't get hired. They had Shawn Michaels on their side. It was a whole thing. I thought you had read or listened to their book.
I read some of it. I didn't get to any Booker T stuff.
Yeah, they had a tryout. It was like in 2009. And he basically got them poo-pooed because of something to do with handshaking.
I mean, he's an old school cat. What can you do? He's probably thinking to himself, like, hey, here's the problem. Here's my problem with this. Nobody still hates Triple H and Shawn Michaels for saying what they said about CM Punk. I don't think the kids got it.
Okay, and they were wrong.
They were wrong. That's right. And obviously Booker T was wrong. The Young Bucks have become what they've become. But
I think they were already on their way to that. Booker T's,
But the Booker T's a bigger legend than the Undertaker, and the Undertaker made a comment about the Young Bucks. What?
What did you just say?
I said Booker T's a bigger legend than the Undertaker, and the Undertaker made a comment about the Young Bucks
However you
throwing all
feel,
of their special.
the way you feel about the Undertaker, that is factually incorrect.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm 39 years old, and it took Undertaker till a steel cage match at Bad Blood to have his first good match. In my opinion, he's fine. He's not bad. He's not good. He gets props for working Michael Jordan at WrestleMania 2 times. It's fine, but I mean, I can point out more terrible WrestleMania matches than you can point out good matches with Undertaker. I can point out more terrible
Let's do that.
SummerSlam
Let's do
matches.
that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we could do that. Oh, look, I love this comment. I was going to go to the next comment because I feel like it'll piss you off, but I want to put
Oh,
this
I
up
like
here.
it. I saw that.
Sting is a better legend than the Undertaker.
I,
100%.
I don't have an argument with that.
Absolutely, 100%. He means more to the business too. Just whatever. Undertaker's fine. But I just wanted to drop that in there as the resident Sting fan in the world. I want you to dissect this comment. I feel like maybe the people in the airport might put you on a no-fly list. The Young Bucks are a poor man's rockers.
That sounds about right.
All right, I love it. I thought you were going to go in on it. Okay, I agree.
No, why would I go in on that? The Rockers are amazing.
Yeah, agreed. They started tag team wrestling too. Like I know that there's tag team wrestling, but they started like the moves. Like that was a big deal. They get a lot of credit for that as well.
Bro, if you said that to Matt and Nick, they'd probably be like, "Thank you."
Possibly. They're not as good, and they'll never be as good as those two. Say what you will about Marty Jannetty, but in the ring,
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
very few. Like if the rest of his life goes well, I think we have more of an Edge and Christian situation than a Shawn and Marty. You know what I mean? Like I think Marty has a solid career in WWF, WWE, but his personal life, I just don't think he was able to do it. This isn't really. Oh, go
By
ahead.
the way, have we gone far enough into the weeds that you can now tell me what the whole beatdown on Julia Hart was on the air? Or does it still have to be an off-air conversation?
Oh, I wasn't gonna beat her down. No.
No. Why they did what they did? Why that happened?
Oh, I think it was to pop the crowd, and I think it made sense. Hopefully, we don't get banned for this, but I just think it made sense to have the one gay wrestler be the guy.
I got you.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
Like if anybody else gives that leg drop, I think there's like
because because of where the landing spot of the leg drop. I got you.
Yeah. I see. This is my problem. This is right. This comment is the perfect comment right here. I can imagine how AEW locker room would treat Taker's advice. I don't think they would take it. I think they would look at Taker as like an old fogey. Like say what you will about the Undertaker, but his advice about the Young Bucks, you and I have agreed that is sound advice, dude. You guys do everything in this every single match, and yes, you're wrestling 4 times a year now. We get it, so it's fine. But
when it was every week,
when it was every single show, every single week, and you're giving us all of your stuff all the time, it's not 5 moves of doom. That's different. That's a typical wrestling match. Like Bret Hart had 5 moves he did all the time. Shawn Michaels had 5 moves he did all the time. Everybody does it. The problem is that Cena's were so glaring that it was dubbed the 5 moves of doom. But yeah, I can imagine The Undertaker going up to a guy like, I don't know, Wardlow and giving him advice and him just being like, oh my God, that old man needs to mind his business. You know, I don't think people would respect his comments.
Do you?
I respected what he said about the Young Bucks. Not necessarily. I feel like Undertaker's one of those guys that I more so dislike his fans more than I dislike him.
Okay, because I've personally, well, not personally, I've never met the man.
You dislike The Undertaker because he's going to beat up Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14. You dislike that he said he was going to do that.
Yeah. First of all, that should never have come out after Shawn heroically risks his ability to walk to.
No one's disputing
that,
but we just talked about the mistakes that companies make. The Jack Perry CM Punk shit should have never come out, or if it did, it should have come out Monday. But yeah, I
But
agree.
he's been asked about it in an interview, and he was like, "Yeah, you're right. I did blah 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 on off the
Yeah,
record on TSN."
yeah. I mean, that version of Shawn Michaels wasn't considered a trustworthy person. And say what you will, and we can say what we want as big Shawn Michaels fans. That sucks. I mean, I'm not a fan of the fact that Taker said that either, but that version of Shawn Michaels is considered kind of a pretty bad person, you
No,
know?
I get it, but like the man is still putting like even possibly his life on the line to do the right thing because like you don't know what happens if his something happens with his spine there because he was in bad shape. He should not have been wrestling.
We have a comment for Tyler. Are you ready for the
Yeah.
comment? This is for you. So, wait, Tyler's a Shawn Michaels fan? Shawn Michaels is the most overrated wrestler in the history of wrestling.
I think we've had this conversation before from the dungeon.
So, so I'm just curious. Like, do you think Shawn is overrated? Do you think Do you think too many people put him in the GOAT conversation? Let's actually dive into this.
It's okay. I mean, he's obviously not underrated. Like,
Okay, yeah. So he's talked about a lot. He's immediately considered the GOAT. There's lots of people.
I
I
and
stand
I
pat.
don't consider him the GOAT. I think Bret Hart is the best professional wrestler that ever lived,
Okay.
regardless of anything else. As a professional wrestler in the ring, as you like to say, from 9 o'clock back then it was 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
Hmm.
Bret Hart is untouchable.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with you, but I think that Shawn Michaels is actually the person who said it best. He's the greatest sports entertainer of all time, and Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler of all time. Now, do I believe that when Bryan Danielson retires, he eclipses them both? 1,000%. He will be the greatest of all time. I think people will be talking about Bryan Danielson the way people talk about Michael Jordan. That's how special he
Lucky
is.
he's lucky if he can hold Shawn Michaels' jaw, but that's a whole other story.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting that Shawn Michaels didn't want to go to the ring with him to get embarrassed, but we'll talk about that on another show.
He
I
was embarrassed that he trained someone so just
brilliant, brilliant
mid,
that main evented two WrestleManias.
mid.
Okay.
Yeah, he had to steal his way into both of them. He wasn't supposed to be in either.
Ooh, that is interesting. Oh, I got called out here for being a Shawn Michaels fan. You too, Macho. A huge Shawn Michaels fan. Oh no, I just lost my smile. Listen, Tyler and I we disagree on the lost smile thing. We disagree. I think Shawn Michaels played the. I think he played backstage politics. He didn't want to drop the title to Brett. I've made this comment. We're going to talk about that on the Montreal show. Tyler believes that his injury was right. Only two people confirmed Shawn Michaels' injury. We're supposed to take it from there. We're going to leave that there, and we're going to talk about his backstage politics. He says he's the best backstage politician since Hogan. What do you think about that?
Well, he's clearly not better.
Obviously not. No,
Yeah.
Hogan was on a different level in terms of like backstage politics. I mean, it's so strange. Like, if you guys ever want to listen to someone blindly defending Hulk Hogan, even with the stuff we know about Hogan, go listen to 83 Weeks podcast because anytime somebody says anything negative about Hogan, there is a way to twist it around to make Hogan out to be the hero.
Yeah, it's like Eminem with Dr. Dre when he's in that I Need a Doctor. It's like you risked your career for me. You know it as well as I know it as well as you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Hogan risked his career and saved Eric Bischoff's. So he's forever grateful. He's forever going to carry his bags.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
What do you
Eric
disagree? What do you disagree with?
Eric Bischoff came up with the NWO between him and Scott Hall. Hogan wasn't even in the plans. It was supposed to be Sting. We've
Yeah, but
seen Sting.
you don't know if that would have worked.
You don't know if it wouldn't have worked.
No, I
Sting is
don't.
the biggest babyface in WCW history. And then, if you take the biggest babyface and he betrays Macho Man Randy Savage and Lex Luger, I'm telling you, I believe it would have worked. If we can do Flashpoint Paradox and we can go back.
Lex Luger, the least sympathetic babyface this side of. Geez, I don't even know.
Oh, oh. This is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Hulk Hogan is the number one wrestler on Mount Rushmore, no matter what he does or has done.
All right,
I
so
can't.
what are you basing that on?
Yeah. Is this a Seth
Mo-
Rollins Mount Rushmore? Because Seth
Like
has
the
broken this down pretty well. He said there's money, and he has the same guys you do. In the next comment, he says Flair, Rock, and Austin. Yeah, that's his four. Is Hogan, Flair, Rock, Austin. But I actually think he took Flair out. He put Cena in there because in terms of money making. But I just think to myself like, no, I don't consider Hogan Mount. I was never a Hogan fan. I mean, my
neither
buddy Pat could tell you, like, I was never a Hogan fan. I didn't think.
the Macho Man. Ooh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
definitely was a fan of Macho Man. I definitely was a fan of Macho Man. Definitely like, but I was more so like Mr. Perfect, Ricky the Dragon, Steamboat, like those
Oh,
guys.
see, I was
Ravishing Rick Rude. I was a big fan. I shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have been. But I was a big Ravishing Rick Rude fan
well.
too.
See, that's the same thing with me. As I was a Macho Man fan, and even when he was the Macho King with Sherry, he's a heel, but like he was still my dude.
Oh, this is interesting. I'm wondering if From the Dungeon is run by Conrad Thompson because I feel like this is like a comment that he would make. He doesn't think that Sting in the NWO would have worked because Hogan was the biggest babyface of all time at the time.
I mean,
I
it's a way bigger impact
well, see,
because
it is because what it did is it made it global. But if we're talking about that Bash at the Beach when it happened, Sting was the biggest babyface. So I believe that it would have worked if he would have turned. People would have been shocked, and then Hogan would have been more so. This he would have been the biggest. Now here we go. NWO versus Hulk Hogan. I think it would have been bigger than NWO versus Sting. Either
man,
way, I think it works. That's what I'm saying. Is either way, I think this works.
no, because nobody wanted to see Hogan in red and yellow anymore at that point. He was getting booed.
Agreed. Agreed. That's a big thing. Hogan talks about it a lot. Eric Bischoff talked about it a lot. Yeah, by that point, people were out. They were checked out of Hulk Hogan.
Because
Like that, he didn't mean anything at that point,
Eric had already wanted this to turn him heel, and
and
he
he
went
didn't
down
want to. He
to Clearwater and talked to him, and he said, "Well, brother, until you've walked a mile in these red and yellow boots or something like that."
he kicked him out.
And
Eric
he
Bischoff
said,
talks about this. He says Hogan kicked him off his property.
"Yeah, to an extent, from what I understand, it was more of a sorry you came all this way for nothing.
Yeah,
I got to go pick the kids up at school or something like that."
yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't know. Sting would have made. Let's see here. Let's see here. Sting would have made the now NWO indie faction. Interesting. So you're thinking so I'm guessing here is that Sting would have made it more so like Bullet Club instead of making it the NWO. He would have been more so like the Bullet Club.
Or is he
Well,
saying like now, if Sting did it now, it would be bigger?
I think Sting's. I mean, obviously he could definitely still go, but I don't know if it works now. No, I
We
don't
should
necessarily.
we should do a podcast like this. Like ask us anything. Like I
Yeah.
honestly completely forgot we were on a podcast here for a minute.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're trying to have trying to
We're
set a
just,
record here to get you to your flight because if not you're gonna pass out and you're gonna miss your flight. But yeah, so I don't know. I still believe. I obviously wrestling is it's opinion based. You don't believe this Sting would have made it. I truly believe that Sting in the NWO at that time, based on what we know about Sting's character and how over he was, and the fact that he was still the biggest babyface in WCW, even with Hulk Hogan, as Hulk Hogan has told us before, he's told us himself the red and yellow was checked out. People were grown up. All those kids were done. They didn't want to drink their milk, eat their vitamins, say their prayers. Kids, most of those kids were moved on from that. Most of those kids had watched The Crow and, they were
right,
getting ready for Blade
but
and things like that.
but riddle me this. Don't you think Shawn Michaels? Yeah, okay. Hulk Hogan turning on Sting is bigger than Sting turning on Lex Luger?
Not for that fan base. WCW had its own niche crowd, just like AEW has now. If Sting would have
Yeah, but
turned on Lex Luger back then,
even they knew that Luger was mid.
That's not true. That's such a bullshit thing to say. That
I've
fan in 1996?
yeah,
No. And first of all, he wasn't mid. He was better. He was better than you think.
he's in ring. He's more than fine.
Yeah, that's not mid then.
Personality wise, I'm looking at a post over there that I think is about as much personality as Lex Luger did in 1996.
Oh my god, they agree with you. The chat agrees with you that Lex Luger is mid. I disagree. I think Lex Luger is an underappreciated talent. He has definitely meant more to WCW. In WWE, yeah, I'll agree. WWF, the All American next Lex Luger, the narcissist, yeah, that was I didn't like either of it.
Wait, I
But
thought. Never
the
mind.
total package Lex Luger, like
Never
the
mind. I won't
torture
go
arc,
there.
yeah, the total package Lex Luger, like the all that version, like the WCW champion with Harley Race as his like manager. No, 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 no.
Yeah, that guy, but that guy's in like 1988.
I'm
Like,
30. I'm 39. I think I was around for Hulkamania. They're questioning whether I was around for Hulkamania at the time. I definitely was. I mean, I started watching wrestling. I guess if you look at it, yeah, I started watching wrestling in 1989. So Hogan was, yeah, Hulkamania was. You're probably right. Matter of fact, yeah, you're probably right.
so in '89 was when Hogan won the title back from Macho. Um,
Yeah, and I didn't watch my first WWF pay per view until 1991. So, and to be
that,
quite honest with you, for me, and this is just a strange thing for me. The person that meant the most in WWF was Brett and Flair, because Flair was like that Royal Rumble that Flair wins. That I thought he was like the top guy. I thought he was the like that was the main champion.
he was the main champion.
Yes, but then obviously Hogan was apparently the guy. Like he was apparently like the John Cena to like CM Punk being champion. Like it didn't matter who held the title. Hogan was the main guy.
There used to be a rumor that Sid had in his contract that he had to face Hogan in the main event at Mania, but apparently that is not accurate.
Well, that sucks for Sid because he's an underrated performer, and
I
he gets.
agree.
And the problem with Hogan that I've always felt is I'm more of a wrestling fan. Like Brian Danielson said this recently, where he says I've watched my 10,000 hours of professional wrestling. And I think Patrick actually agreed with that. Patrick on Working the Marks, he actually said the same thing. Like I've watched my fill of wrestling. I haven't. I'm 39, and wrestling still matters to me more than story. Like I think that there are two stories that are told in professional wrestling. There's the story to get to the match, and then there's a story from bell to bell. The story from bell to bell means more than getting to the match. That's my fixation with wrestling.
To me, you have to meld the two in order for it to be really successful.
That's
That's
such a bad.
why. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's why. That's why I say what I say when we talked about the Forbidden Door. I
Mhm.
just think the overall story going into the match and the story of the match is so much that Will's like, I would rather die than lose to this guy again.
Yeah, and that was amazing for the second best match of the night. It was amazing. Uh but
If I could reach in there and slap you right now.
still, the chat says Hulk Hogan was the only wrestler to rule the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Would you agree?
2000s, show your work.
Hmm. That's interesting. He definitely ruled the 80s and 90s because, as
Yeah,
Conrad Thompson says it a lot, he was the biggest babyface of all time, and then he turned into the biggest heel of all time. So, I mean, if that's your mindset, I still feel like there were better heels in the business currently. Like I felt like the biggest heel in the 2000s up until 2009 was Triple H. I thought he was the best heel. I know a lot of people want to say it's Vince McMahon, but he wasn't a wrestler. Like
yeah.
just,
To me, from the time he turns on, the 2000s Edge is the best heel. But
okay.
uh,
Yeah, I feel like you can make an argument with that.
I do think in '09 you could give a call to either
Randy.
Orton, Randy, or Jericho.
No, it's definitely Orton. What Orton did was
Actually,
I feel
Jericho's more '08. wait.
Yeah, I that is not true. I disagree with that. First of all, it says he came back to WWE and with the NWO and killed it. That is not true. I'm
Killed what? The
sorry.
NWO?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
he
killed the
did.
NWO. No,
Yeah, he
I
did.
disagree. That is absolute lunacy. Listen here. There is no possible way that you thought that Hulk Hogan going back to WCW or WWF or WWE, whatever it was at the time, and that it was over. It wasn't. It
He
got to
had
a point.
one great night,
One great night. Absolutely right.
and
That's
then
it.
the team with Edge was fun.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, the team with Edge was fine because it's like what was mentioned about Chris Jericho. He got to live two dreams. He got to wrestle his biggest show in his entire wrestling career, and he got to perform his song in front of the biggest crowd of his career. So
Right,
he lived two dreams. That's what it was like for Edge. He got to wrestle with his favorite wrestler of all time, and he won a tag title with his favorite wrestler of all time.
and he got to watch it. I believe he got to watch it. It aired on July 4th with Hogan.
I love it. The chat is on fire today.
I
Oh my
actually
god.
legitimately just slapped my knee with that one.
That is awesome. That is such a great. That's the best comment. I wish we could pin that comment forever. I love it. That is a great one. Or earlier in the chat, somebody said that Hangman Adam Page is a poor man's Edge. Do you agree with that?
I'll allow it.
Hmm. I think to be a poor man's Edge, you have to be able to cut a promo.
You don't think he can cut a promo?
I don't think he can cut a promo like Edge. I don't think he can cut a promo like Christian.
Where is this Edge that you speak of that cut so many great promos? Like,
What are you talking about? Name a bad Edge promo. Go ahead, I'll wait. We got time. I'll wait.
I don't know that they're necessarily bad, but
Edge
like,
is the greatest Canadian
I
wrestler
don't
of all
think
time.
they're legendary either. Like, I think my favorite Edge as far as talking goes was the like maybe 4 weeks that he was just completely flipped out. And
The I Hate You John Cena promo?
no,
That's the best.
um,
That's probably one of the best promos in the history
when
of Raw.
when Vicky decides that she's going to punish him by making him face the Taker in Hell in a Cell, and he takes out La Familia one by one until it's just him and her in the ring, and she doesn't know who's been doing it until she does, and then he tips over the wheelchair and like is like crawling, talking to her, like it's almost Joker like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. When I think of Edge, I think of the I Hate You John Cena promo. That promo is amazing. And then he cuts another.
It is very good.
Yeah, that promo is phenomenal. His promo leading up to WrestleMania against Taker is good.
Yeah,
His
don't get me wrong, he's not bad. It's just I don't think he's one of the top guys in the business either, and in that regard.
I don't think Canada should let you in. I hope
I
Edge
mean,
watches this. I hope Edge is
he
streaming, like just scrolling, and he just heard you say that.
he's my
You're
all-time favorite wrestler
show your
overall
work.
ever.
Show your work. Show your work.
Well, I've got a Leaf shirt on, so he would
All right.
approve of that as well.
Listen, he is by far the greatest Canadian professional wrestler of all time, and you can't.
Bret Hart just got really like he just like you were his one hope, and he just he's just he doesn't have a reason to go on now. Like
No, I love Bret Hart. I don't think there's a bigger Bret Hart fan than me on the internet today. But when I look at Edge, I just think of him like I think when he's finally done this second run, just kind of solidifies what he means to professional wrestling. I think Edge finishes top 5 all time.
can I say something controversial that you maybe aren't gonna like?
What?
I am very grateful that we got this second run, but I haven't loved much of what's happened.
Why? That doesn't work for me, brother. Tell me why.
Like
What did you expect?
more.
When you say more, what do you mean more? What did you expect with Edge? Did you expect him to come back and win the world title?
maybe I expected him to come back and be the guy, and maybe I should be okay with him not being, but I just don't think he's the guy when he left. I'm
Okay,
happy
Edge.
for him.
All right, so let's go through this real quick. So Edge comes back. He has an immediate feud with Randy Orton. Right? They have a couple solid matches. I'm not going to call it the greatest match of all time like they did, but I think that was just a tagline.
And
Then he goes
I
into a
don't.
feud with he has a feud with Seth
Okay,
freaking Rollins.
let me start.
Hmm.
The last man standing with match with Orton is not good. It's uncomfortable. It's way too long. Um, I didn't like it at all.
Okay, did you not like it, or did you not like it like O2 SummerSlam?
No, because I knew it was. I knew it was.
But he got hurt. He tore his
Pre.
tricep in the match.
No, he tore his tricep in the second one.
Okay,
I knew he came out of it okay, and even if he tore his tricep, and he's not paralyzed. He's fine.
listen, I can watch Edge wrestle all day long. So he
The
goes on, and then he has his feud.
the Seth Rollins feud is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
So, okay, so if anything, we got that. And mind you, the biggest story in
No,
professional wrestling today is the fucking Judgment Day.
yeah, no, I'm not
And that
saying
does
I'm not
not.
saying I wish it didn't happen. I'm just saying. Have you ever heard the song? I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
I think he's a better professional
I
wrestler
feel
now than he
like
was back then.
no,
He's
he's not.
safer. He's smarter. He's more in his in-ring awareness is way better. He protects himself a lot better. He knows how to work a lot more. He's a seasoned veteran. He's not
You,
Chris Jericho who goes out there.
are you telling me his matches are better now than they were then?
I think a lot of his match. I think that his match with Finn Balor at WrestleMania. I think his match with Finn Balor, the I Quit match. I think his match with Seth Rollins. I think his WrestleMania match with Randy Orton. I think
We'll just
all of
have to
these.
agree to disagree there.
I think his AJ Styles match. I think all of these matches hold a candle to any match he had before he retired. His main event match with Roman Reigns and Bryan Danielson. Bryan is literally the only person who says he doesn't like that match. He says it only because he was checked out. He didn't think he belonged there. That's a different thing. But still, in-ring work, that was a great main
I
event.
guess that whole story just really frustrates me after he wins the Rumble, and maybe that's why I don't like it. Because I mean, I wanted it so bad. It was just I wanted that moment.
My God, you really mark out for these guys. Your fucking Finn Balor fascination, and then your Edge stuff. I don't know if he was ever going to win the title. I don't. What if he didn't want to? He was
What's
coming and going. What if he just was like, I can't be your world champion?
so he couldn't hold it for a month,
I don't
just for
know.
the moment, just
Apparently,
for the.
apparently 3.5 weeks was too much for Shawn Michaels. So maybe those guys just didn't want that.
3.5 weeks. What do you mean?
Well, he held it from SummerSlam to Armageddon, the World Heavyweight Championship. It was 3.5 weeks. Shawn Michaels was World Heavyweight Champion. He held the big gold for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, because he didn't want to work um through until Mania again.
Exactly. Well, that's what Edge did. He didn't want to work that much. He left and he came back, but he gave us the Judgment Day. That
Yeah, he did.
that was brilliant.
Maybe
He
you're
put his
right.
yeah.
I don't know. Like like I watched the Sheamus match and like it was all right.
Oh,
Uh,
fuck you. That was a solid match.
it's fine. Yeah, it was, but it
That
wasn't.
match, if that match happens in the main event of All In, that match is like a 6 star from Dave Meltzer. But because it happened in the company that hates him and doesn't want to talk about him, he probably gave it like a 2.5 star. I can't wait to see his fucking star rating about that show. I can't wait. By the way, I can't wait. I feel like that's like I'm gonna need my popcorn. Anyway,
Yeah, you know what? You might be right. Maybe it's the Randy stuff colored it for me because I don't like that.
okay, understood.
But I don't. I mean, I guess I'm not a big Randy fan. So because the stuff with Seth was really good. Actually, you know what? If we can segue,
Yeah.
I was thinking
But before you segue, I want to point out this comment is absolutely right. The best thing about Edge's second run was his Royal Rumble entrance. There's nothing that comes close to that.
The
That was so
funniest,
special.
the funniest thing about it, and I swear on my life this happened.
Mhm.
There was like a pause before the music hit, and I
Yeah.
said, because there's a rumor, and I never believed it for a second, but I still said, I'm sitting in my room, and I said, "You think you know me?" And then all of a sudden it hits, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. That was
Like I
amazing.
never expected to be right. I just said it, just
My favorite videos of that Royal Rumble are people that are recording themselves for live reactions, and then it happens, and you could tell they made a mistake recording themselves because they're about to cry on their phone.
That's me
Like,
when he wins it. That's me when he wins it. It's like, yeah, I'm not crying. You're not crying. I'm crying. No, wait. I'm. Yeah, exactly.
do you know what's crazy? I wonder. That's a great question. I wonder if Edge is the only wrestler to ever win 2 Royal Rumbles coming back from injury. Because we've had wrestlers win after injury. John Cena at Madison Square Garden. We have the Triple H one after injury. But Edge came back at the Royal Rumble just like Cena did, and he did it twice. Because didn't he win the Royal Rumble match after his tricep tear? Like he came back, he was in the Rumble, he won.
He won in 2010. So yes, I believe so.
Yeah, but he
Like
came back from injury. And in this one, he was number 1.
so, like, are we strictly meaning that that's the match they came back from their injury in,
Yeah.
or coming off an injury? Because like Austin did it in '98 after having the SummerSlam '97.
No, coming off injury. Just coming
Like
off first
like
match
this
back.
is
Yeah.
the match first match back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely is.
So let me ask you a question before we move on to a different. Oh, no. Uh, do you think that WWE has tried so hard to have people win from 1 to erase 2004? Because it did. Before 2004, it was 95. I mean, it was a 9-year period that
Did
someone won.
Austin didn't do it?
No,
Doing from 2.
I think, but
Okay.
it was Sean, Benoit, and Edge.
To me, one and 2 are the same. To be honest with you, but I don't know because I mean they didn't do it. They didn't have it happen until didn't happen to have it happen again until 2021. So
Yeah,
maybe they,
but
if anything,
so
maybe they're
close to
trying to
each
stay
other,
away
we
from it.
had. But so close to each other, we had Edge and Rhea Ripley, 2 members of the Judgment Day.
Maybe they're just finally
One.
like, okay, well, this is we've got enough distance here that we can do it, and nobody will think of him.
Well, I don't think anybody made a big deal about Rhea Ripley doing it. They never even talk about it again after she does it.
Well, I think a mistake was made after when she won that match.
What
And
was that?
you've pointed it out. I think something was said that wasn't necessarily supposed to be said.
Oh, that she just booked herself the main event of WrestleMania?
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I love this comment. Are we ready for Brian Pillman Jr. to come to? Yes. I want the loose cannon 2.0. I want it all. I am a fan of his. I don't know why people just feel the need to shit on this poor kid's career. He hasn't even fucking had a career. Give him a chance. This kid could turn. He's at the right place. They are
Yeah.
going to give us what we need. What
Yeah.
we
They
need
didn't
to do
know.
is we need a legacy 2.0. Put this kid, put Ava Rain, give me some other like second or third generation superstars. Put them together and then just let them run that shit in NXT. Brian
Yeah.
Pillman, Ava Rain, and Braun Breaker. Perfect. Boom. What a faction. I know you love Braun. Don't shit on Braun on our podcast. All right.
Honestly, like I've liked what I've seen from him lately.
Yeah, he's the perfect wrestler.
I liked him. What did he have? It's like best spear in the business or something on his shirt.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, that's funny.
Yo,
You're an asshole.
his spear
That's
looks
what
like
he's
it
supposed to be.
hurts, man. It looks like 97 Goldberg spear. It looks brutal. You ever get a chance, go to YouTube and look up the Goldberg Kiwi spear. Holy shit.
I remember.
That was such a brutal one. And because he
Yeah.
springboarded into it. Oh, it was awful. I mean, it looked awesome, by the way, but I don't know.
So you know, this is a funny thought that I had the other day. For all the shortcomings that Vince McMahon has,
Mhm.
he is better at rehabilitating people than the U.S. prison system. And I say this because Seth Rollins, within the span of 2 years, has gone from a man who invaded another man's home to the top baby face in the company.
Really?
Yeah, he was like he did the home invasion on Edge,
Yeah.
and now he's the. If he's not the top baby face, he's right there.
Huh.
It's funny because it's obviously it's character,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just thought just popped into my head this morning while I was trying to sleep, and I was like, "That's funny."
That's true. What do you think of this comment here? Braun Breaker will be nothing on the main roster unless he breaks out the Big Papa Pump gimmick.
No, no, I never want to see that.
Why?
I'm sorry, I hate Big Papa Pump.
I hate your face. Listen, what's wrong with Big Papa Pump?
What's right with it?
Do you like CM Punk?
Yeah,
Do you like that CM Punk calls everybody out for everything?
no.
You don't like that? He cuts promos and he says shit like "I'm better than you, John," things like that.
Well,
Then he
like when
shits on
he
he
says
shits on
funny.
Johnny Ace.
The difference
He
is he's saying some stuff to be funny.
go back and watch all those Big Papa Pump promos. Tell me he didn't do the same thing. Tell me he didn't do the same thing. He cut promos on Ric Flair, on Jeff Jarrett. He cut every promo he could. He told the world.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think
he wasn't working though. There's a difference.
who wasn't working.
Papa Pump wasn't working.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
He was
Working like
He was
wrestling?
shooting. He was shooting. That's why he got suspended after the Flair one.
That's not been confirmed or denied, Tyler.
That has been confirmed.
No, it has not. Eric Bischoff will not confirm that. He
Eric
said
Bischoff hasn't confirmed it, but it's
that's all the confirmation I need. The president of the company.
okay. But Bruce Pritchard saying Shawn Michaels had a knee injury isn't good enough for you.
No, I don't know. I don't believe it because there was no story. There was a storyline that like it led to a promo where he said, "I've lost my smile." Like I'm sorry, I can't do it.
All
Tyler,
right,
Tyler.
I don't want to hear you talk about men's mental health if you're not
Oh
gonna.
my God! Don't Tyler. Tyler, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Holla if you hear me.
I don't hear you. I don't
Listen,
hear you.
listen, listen. He's. I can see Braun coming out saying, "I'm the big bad booty daddy." I can see it. I can see it working. They're moving into edgy stuff. I think it would work really well.
There's a lot of things I could say right now
Hmm.
about Braun Breaker and my feelings about Scott Steiner as Big Papa Pump, but I'm just not going to say them because
Listen, you
I
would
know
be
you'll get
33 and a third
sad.
percent correct.
You'll get
Listen,
sad, and then we'll have to.
you just hate Braun Breaker because he's better than you and you know it. That's what it is. You just don't like him. That's all it is. But listen, you're right. You're right because there's no wrong answer in wrestling. But you're only 33 and a third percent right. That's it.
Yes,
All right. So as long as we know that,
we're using Steiner math, correct?
we are absolutely using Steiner math. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So, Tyler, the joke doesn't work if you have to explain it. Just saying. And it definitely doesn't work if the person that receives the joke has to explain it. I mean, that's just what a weird thing. I don't know. I feel like getting back to Brian Pillman, I feel like we don't know how good he could be. We have
Yeah,
no idea. Not TNA. Impact never gave him the opportunity. Ring of Honor never gave him the real opportunity. He never got the real opportunity in AEW. He kind of was just thrown out there. He was immediately made a part of like a Hollywood Blondes like
except
remake.
as it like they were jobbers.
Exactly. And we don't know. Like he could come in, they could refine his promos. I mean, the thing is there's no Dusty down there to help with like the refinement of promos, and we don't know who helps them. Whoever's helping Tiffany, help that man. He cuts good promos.
Mhm.
Whoever's helping
Yeah,
Tiffany, help Brian Pillman.
yeah, she's another one that's right there with Tony Storm is doing tremendous work right now. I did catch her promo on Tuesday and I liked it.
You know what I love about Tiffany was asked how she developed this character. She says she got it from Ashley Tisdale
Yeah,
by one of her
I can see
Disney
it.
Channel. Yeah, that's what she did. She was
She's the heel from High School Musical.
Yeah, that's what she
Yeah,
did, and that works. And it's like, okay, why can't more people do things like that? She's definitely brilliant in that sense.
I love that because if I were a wrestler, I think that's how I would get my character ideas and stuff from movies. Because we've discussed like different shows that I'm watching and how I think of stories from them. So
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that.
So let's talk about this for a second. So we have Seth Rollins who does all of his gear based off movies and television shows like Game of Thrones, the Power Rangers, whatever. And that works, right? And then we have Sting, who uses the crow gimmick from a movie, and now we have Tiffany, who says she got it from Ashley Tisdale in the Disney Channel, and she's like the villain of High School Musical. However, and it's working on NXT. It's by far the best promo we're getting in NXT right now. So why don't more wrestlers use movies and television shows to help develop their characters? If
I
we
don't know
see
that
it as a successful thing, why don't they do it?
because I don't know that everyone's as creative as necessarily the next person. And I don't know that people necessarily see it. I think some people just take what they're given.
Okay.
Um, that's the only thing I can think of because like that's what I think. Like I get promos out of songs. I see a movie or a TV show and I'm like thinking of ideas.
Hmm.
Um, even if, I mean some of them maybe end up a little clunky, but like not every idea is a great idea.
Hmm.
But I still think the Mr. Gold idea is money.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would
Yeah,
work really well. But we've kind of seen it, haven't we?
have we?
Yeah, what was the name of that character where he was kind of like Satan? He was an ECW character. He always had his eyebrows like he was an ECW character.
Originally CW or WWE CW?
It might be WWE ECW. I don't see the thing is that Satan and Saturn are spelled the same way. Uh he was he was one of Chris Canyon's best friends.
DDP?
No, no. He was
Damn
a
it.
he was like Paul Heyman.
James Mitchell?
I Yes. What was his gimmick? Wasn't it kind of like Mr. Gold?
That's originally CW. I haven't seen enough of it to know.
Father James Mitchell. Yes, that was kind of like Mr. Gold.
He would grant you favors or he would grant you wishes, and
I
you
don't
owed
think
him
he
like a
did it that I don't think he did it that way, but he definitely had like I'm the devil type of gimmick.
like I'll do
Like
this
that.
for you, but
Yeah.
you owe me kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay,
I,
well,
so you know,
yeah, okay.
it's definitely
So me and Paul Heyman have the same idea. I'm good with that.
okay. There you go.
I'm okay with that.
Speaking of Paul Heyman, I saw most recently where people were talking about the best commentary duos. Do you have a specific commentary duo that you feel like are the best you've ever seen in your lifetime?
Are you setting me up to say Heyman and Jr. Because I did love them.
No, I'm genuinely asking you. I
Oh,
have an opinion.
that's an interesting question. I like early Jim Ross in WCW quite a bit.
Okay.
Like the NW, like he just makes things feel legitimate and big.
Yes.
And I really do love Heyman and Jr. That might be. It was such a short time, but that might be it. Honestly,
I think for me, I've absolutely thought that no two have been better than Joey Styles and Cyrus the Virus.
okay, Yeah,
I thought like in ECW you had Joey Styles, who was like the lone commentator who could do it all. He could do play by play and he could do color. And then you had Cyrus the Virus that was constantly trying to throw him off his game. It was perfect.
yeah.
It was a
I
better.
was,
It was I felt like it was a better version of JR and the King because I felt like JR was the color. He was the play by play, like whatever he would say, and then Jerry was just like so outlandish, so like heelish. Like it
so
wasn't.
they were really good from about 97 to like 04.
Yeah,
Um, that was their sweet spot. I We all love that Randy Orton Edge Intercontinental title match, and to me,
hmm
that's their peak.
yeah,
Where like Jerry's talking about all the great things that Orton does, and he says like, well, he's better at getting women than Edge, and JR's like, getting women? Will you stop? Please?
well,
Also, like let's pour some out for Heenan and Monsoon. That was a fun pairing.
yeah, I could see that.
Modern day wrestling, it's not as
No, I don't think it matters now. I think possibly the best announcer in the biz right now is Nigel McGuinness. He's just on another level in terms of like what
love
he
it.
does. Corey Graves a close second. I'm wondering why we never got those two paired together. Just let them roll. I feel
Were
like
they
they would
not
have.
at all? No, they weren't. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I wonder why they just didn't let them roll. Like they would have been perfect for like a Raw or SmackDown or even pay per views.
You know what? That was a fantastic announce team when it was Nigel and Beth and Mauro Ranello.
Oh, Moro is so special. He's like the modern day Joey Styles. That was it. You're right. That was a fantastic announce team. Well, guys, I think we've made it as far as we could make it. We talked about as much as we could talk about. Thank you so much for joining us. We wanted to help Mr. Tyler get to his get. Ooh,
For security reasons, the terminal curb is a no parking area.
Are you hearing my announcement?
yeah, we heard it. We also heard it when you were playing Backstreet Boys earlier. Hopefully, we don't get banned for copyright.
Who was playing Backstreet Boys? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, you were. You were playing I Want It That Way. We just thought you were a really big fan. Me
What?
in the chat. Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is interesting. Nikki Cross says she's leaving WWE when she gets her PhD. That's interesting.
Well,
That's
the business will be poorer for it, but good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great note to leave on. Good for you, Nikki. Go get that shit. You know, go get that. Go become a doctor. Good for you. That's awesome. That's great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back in a couple weeks together. I will do some wrestling match spotlight, and I will talk about individual wrestlers as I normally do. I don't know if I'll be doing Raw and SmackDown reviews without Tyler, but I will try my best. And we look forward to it. Tyler, safe travels. Enjoy yourself. Make sure you don't get kicked by a moose.
I'll try to avoid the. Was that conversation on air?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just a
I'll
little throwback.
Try to avoid the moose. Yes.
All right, then. All right, guys, we're out.
Out.